We all want to protect our brand new expensive iPhones with the case that's perfect for you, but trying to find that case can be a bit of a mess. There are a ton of different options out there, and most of them look great online, but are pretty disappointing once you get them in hand. I've reviewed hundreds of different cases over the years, and in this video we're going to add to that number with a ton of different cases for the brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max, so you don't waste your time and money on something that you're going to regret. And all this here is not for show. There are no duplicate cases on my table right now. I even had to put all the different colors off to the side because I couldn't fit everything on the screen. So if you want to protect your brand new iPhone, this video is everything that you need to see to start you on your journey to finding that perfect case. And at the end of this video, I'll let you know which one of these cases were my personal favorites. So let's get into it. If you love the way your brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max looks and feels without a case on it, but you want to add a little bit of extra protection so it doesn't get all scratched up, you're definitely going to love the case that I have here for you today. This is the 600D Aramid Fiber case by Thinborn, and it's been my go-to minimalist case for the past 2 years now, and let me tell you why. First off, not only do they take pride in their case, but they also take pride in their presentation with this really nice wooden carbon fiber covered looking box. And in the box, you get their carbon fiber case, which is super thin, super light, and somehow they found a way to put a MagSafe ring in the super thin case. And we also get a tempered glass screen protector along with it to protect your screen, which not a lot of other cases include. So like I said before, this case is super light and it's super thin. Let me show you how much it actually weighs. 23.5 grams. You can see it's got the aramid fiber through and through. It's not just a cover. It's also scratch resistant and it keeps down those fingerprints. We also do have a pretty good raised edge around our camera lenses as well, and you can see that it's got the MagSafe ring on the inside. So let's put our phone inside the case here. Snaps right into place, and you can see that it keeps the phone pretty much just as thin as before you even put the case on it. Looks really nice, feels great in the hand. Nice and thin. It's got the large cutouts on the side for all of your buttons, so you don't have to worry about being able to press those. We've got the cutout for your camera button as well. On the back, again, it's got that nice feeling, kind of slightly textured aramid fiber. Feels really nice, and you can see again how much of a raised edge we get around our camera lenses, so you can actually end up putting a protector on here as well if that's what you want. If we take a look at the front of the case, you can see that it has ever so slight raised edge on the front of the screen, and that's why they include the tempered glass screen protector. But before we install the tempered glass screen protector, let's check out the MagSafe on the back. So here I have my Qi 2 wireless charger here, clips right onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and it's got a nice strong hold on the case as well, so you don't have to worry about the case just falling off your MagSafe accessory. Yeah, it's got a nice strong hold. That's amazing that they can put such strong magnets in such a slim form factor. And so whether you're using a wireless charger like we have here or a MagSafe power bank, it's going to stick on the back of the case really well. And if we take a look at the bottom here, you can see that it's got all the cutouts for the charging port and our speaker and our microphone. And it's got an oversized cutout, so pretty much no matter what cable you're going to plug into your iPhone, it's going to fit. Now let's install the tempered glass screen protector. Now because we don't have a guide, I'm going to keep the case on here to act as a guide. And the first thing we need to do is to thoroughly clean off our screen with the included alcohol wipes. Then dry it off. Then we'll take our tempered glass screen protector, and it doesn't really matter which way you put it on because it's symmetrical. There are no cutouts. And we'll peel back the plastic part just like this. And then place this down over your phone the best you can. Then once it's in place, it should start to adhere to the phone. You can see it's starting right there, and it's working its way down. And if there are any bubbles, you can just simply push them out with your finger. So it did look like we got a couple pieces of dust underneath our screen, but for the most part, it was a pretty easy installation. We have the little pieces of dust right there. There's another one over here and at the bottom. But as far as touch goes, feels nice and smooth, just like the glass that's on the phone. It is also a full coverage protector, so it covers the little island on the top of your phone as well. The edges are also rounded off, so it has a nice feel when you swipe your finger over it. And again, if we take a look at it from the side, you can see now that there's no more raised edge for your case, but we do have the tempered glass screen protector. Let's test out our Face ID. Face ID working perfectly fine, and you can see that the screen is crystal clear and touch is working without issue. Now let's take a look at the screen as if we were looking at it through polarized sunglasses. And you can see that there's a very slight rainbow effect, not bad at all. And even if you twist and turn it, it's still not that bad. It's just ever so slight. So we're going to use polarized sunglasses with the screen protector. It should be a pretty good experience. And if we take a look at the screen here, you can see that there's an ever so slight gap all the way around the screen for case compatibility. So there's not going to be any lifting or bubbles because the screen protector is not touching the case at all. And we'll take a look at our front cameras, see if there's any issues there. And no issues that I could see. It looks pretty clear. Now, as far as the screen being lined up, it was a manual installation. And as you saw, there was a black border around the edge of the glass, but because you're manually installing it on your screen, there might be some parts where there's a bigger gap on the top versus the bottom, so it might not be perfectly aligned, but for the most part, it doesn't look like it's covering any part of the screen. Especially if we look at the camera here, you can see all edges of the camera here. And if we take a look at our screen on here, it doesn't look like it cuts off anything. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. And as far as fingerprints, it does seem to do a pretty good job at keeping down fingerprints. I really don't see anything on the screen, so there's nothing to wipe away. And if you're worried about the case just coming off your phone, don't, because it's on here pretty good. And the best way that I found to take this off your phone is to simply hold your phone in your hand like this and take your thumbs and press in each one of the corners until the case kind of comes off, and then push through the little camera cover and the case should come right off. So now you see why this is my favorite aramid fiber minimalist case and why I use it year after year. I love the inclusion of the tempered glass screen protector. Other case manufacturers do not even include that with their case. It's super light, super strong. It's going to keep down those fingerprints and scratches. So if you love minimalist cases, I would definitely recommend the aramid fiber case by Thinborn. The first OStand case we're going to take a look at is the Q3 Air. And this actually happens to be my personal favorite case and the one that I've been using on my iPhone 17 Pro Max. The reason why I like this case so much is because it's going to give you the best drop protection possible, because it's got these little airbags on the top and the bottom of the case. So if your phone happens to fall and hit the ground, it's going to be protected by these airbags on the side. It also has kind of like an outdoor lifestyle aesthetic. So if you like to do things outdoors like hiking, biking, things like that, if you happen to drop your phone, these airbags are going to give you the best drop protection possible. So I'm going to put my phone inside the case here. Another thing I really like is the fact that TORRAS has made these cases kind of go along with the colors of the new 17 Pro Max. I've got the orange here and I've got the orange case, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. The case is also pretty light. It's got a really nice frosted backing to keep down those fingerprints. It also does have a metal magnetic kickstand on the back that comes out very easily. It's also very sturdy. This hinge is not going to fall down on you like some of the other cheaper hinges out there. And the coolest thing is it rotates 360 degrees. So not only can you use this to kind of get a better grip on your phone, so you don't have to worry about dropping it, but you can also use it as a kickstand in a landscape mode. You can kind of angle it down pretty much however you need, or you can also use it in a portrait mode as well. and then it very easily folds right back into the case, so you don't have to worry about anything sticking up for when you need to use that MagSafe on the back. Speaking of MagSafe, it also works perfectly with the TORRAS Polar Circle Qi 2 wireless charger. You can clip it right onto the back here, charges your phone immediately, and it also has a pretty good hold on the back as well. And if you don't want to use a MagSafe charger, you can also use the power banks on the go. We've got the TORRAS Ostandpower bank, and it very easily clips right onto the back, and again immediately starts to charge your phone. And the cool thing about this is it also does have the kickstand on the back, so you can also use that while your phone's charging as well. It's got a really nice feel in the hand. It's got these little grips on the side. You can see right there, these rubber grips to help with the grip in your hand. The buttons are also nice and clicky, very easily pressable. I like the orange accented buttons. Another really nice thing about the Q3 Air is it actually has a touch capacitive button for your camera button. It doesn't just use a cutout, which I personally like. You double press that in to open up your camera, and then you can slide your finger over that button to kind of use whatever you have it on right now. I've got it on a zoom. You can see it works really well. Kind of double press that to access the other features. Press it again to access that. And here we have our different camera levels. So the button for the camera seems to work really well. And if we take a look at it from the side, you can also see that it's got a pretty decent raised edge around the front of the phone. I also do not have a tempered glass screen protector on the phone either. It also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to your phone. And as I said before, this ring on the back on all of those stand cases is magnetic. So you can actually clip your phone onto gym equipment if you need to record your workout, or like me, you can put on your favorite recipe, click it onto your microwave, and you can kind of follow along hands-free. It also does have a pretty good raised edge around our camera lenses for protection there too. Another great thing about the kickstand on the back is because it has so many degrees of adjustment, you can easily set it down on things that are not level, so you can record those things in life that you just can't afford to miss. I also kind of have the Q3 Air that would go along great with either the silver or the dark blue here. You can see how it's got accented orange colors to go along with that blue. Looks really nice. I absolutely love the frosted back here, so it keeps down those fingerprints. Again, this is definitely my favorite OsTand case. The next OsTand case we have is the OsTand Q3 Silicone. This case is totally covered in a really nice soft rubbery type of silicone. It's got the same magnetic kickstand on the back. It's also got some metal accented buttons on the side, which I absolutely love. It also does have a nice soft kind of microfiber on the inside to help keep your phone scratch free. And if you have kids, this is probably going to be the case for you, because if they happen to draw on it or anything like that, it's kind of abrasion resistant. Or if they had crayons or something and they're going to try to draw on your case, it's going to kind of resist those markings, and then you should very easily be able to wipe those away with minimal effort as well. There are some slight markings on the case, but for the most part, it looks brand new. So we'll put our phone inside the case here. Feels great in the hand. It's got a really good grip to it. As far as the buttons on the side, very easily pressable, nice and clicky. I absolutely love that. If we take a look at the case from the side, you can see it's got a raised edge all the way around the front of the phone. It also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone either. You can see those accented metal buttons. On the back, again, we do have that metal magnetic kickstand. And another thing I wanted to mention about all of the OsTand spinning kickstands here, they can stand up to 30,000 folds without loosening, and they also use strong 18N magnets, which are 40% stronger than the ones used in Apple's cases. We got that same nice rubbery type feel on the back as well as the sides, And you can see it's got a really nice plastic, hard plastic raised edge all the way around your camera for protection there too. Again, no cutouts for the camera button. We actually have a physical touch capacitive button on there. And that looks really nice. Feels great in hand. I love how grippy that is. And again, this case worked exactly the same with all your MagSafe chargers and power banks. This also does come in a couple different colors. This color kind of goes along really well with the orange color. And I've also got the blue here that goes great with the silver, or if you happen to have the blue too. Looks really nice. And in addition to abrasions and drawings from your kids, it's also spill resistant as well. So if anything spills on here, you can very easily just kind of wipe it away or even wash it away. Another really nice thing about the metal kickstand on the back is it kind of locks in place in different degrees. So you don't have to worry about the kickstand just kind of freely spinning all the way around your phone. You'll know that it's going to stay in the orientation that you put it in. And the last OStand case we have here is the Q3 VegSkin. This case has all the great protection and use of the kickstand as the Q3 silicone, but it's covered in a vegan leather with a metal camera ring to make it feel super premium. That looks really nice. And again, it's got that same metal kickstand on the back here, 360-degree rotation, the same strong magnets. It also has the metal accented power and volume buttons on the side, and it's also covered with this nice rubbery type material all the way around the phone to help give it a better grip in your hand. It also does have the suede type material on the inside, again, to help keep your phone scratch free. Goes in the phone really easily, feels good in the hand. It does have a rubbery type feel to it. The buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable, very nice. And if we take a look at the case from the side, you can see that it does have a raised edge all the way around the front of the phone, and it also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone either. We've got our cutouts on the bottom. Again, the same camera button as all the other OStands, the metal power button on the back. It's got that nice vegan leather. It's got a nice soft feel to it. It doesn't show any fingerprints either. It is slightly scratch resistant as well. And it's got that nice premium metal camera ring to protect your lenses on the back. I think that looks really nice. So if you're looking for a nice leather case with the metal kickstand on the back that looks a little bit more premium than some of the other cases, I would definitely recommend going with the OStand Q3 VegSkin. The next case we're going to take a look at is the SUPCASE UB Grip case. This case has been military grade drop tested up to 15 feet. It supports the new Qi 2 25-watt wireless standard. And it also has a touch capacitive camera button on the side, no more cutouts. So let's see how much this case weighs. This case weighs 66.6 grams. So we'll put our phone inside the case here. So the case feels really good in the hand. It does have some texturing on the side to help with grip. As far as the buttons, they're nice and clicky, easily pressable. I also do really love the fact that it's got an accented action button on the side, so you can easily find that. This case also does have some pretty aggressive corners to help with shock absorption. In case you happen to drop your phone should be protected. If we take a look at it from the side, you can see that it doesn't add a lot extra bulk to your phone. We also do have a pretty good prominent raised edge all the way around the front of the screen for some protection there too. You can see that we have these carbon fiber looking inlays. I really like that, along with that texturing. On the bottom here, we do have our cutouts for our speaker and our mic, and our covered charging port as well. Get this out. We also have a lanyard hole in one of the corners. On the other side, we have the same carbon fiber looking inlay. We have the texturing, we have our power button, and we also have that touch capacitive camera button. It uses 19 copper conductors to ensure smooth pressure and slide control, which we will be testing out in just a minute. This case is also made of a durable TPU and PC dual layer material, and it's got, again, those air cushion corners for drop protection. If we take a look at the case on the back, you can see it's nice and clear to show off the color of your phone. We also do have this metal kickstand on the back that easily folds out. The hinge is also really well made, so you don't have to worry about it just flopping all around. You can also stand your phone up in a portrait or a landscape mode. In the portrait, you have some adjustment to angle the case towards your face, but when it's in landscape mode, it's really just, it kind of just has like a little bit of an angle. But again, this does have the Qi 2 wireless capability, and it also uses N52 grade magnets that provides a holding force of up to 1,800 grams. And you can also see when you push the kickstand into the back of the case that it is flush and there are no bumps on the back either. And if we take a look at the case from the side, you can see that prominent raised edge all the way around the cameras for protection there too. So let's test out our MagSafe. We've got our Qi 2 wireless charger here, clips right onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and it holds onto your phone pretty good. Now it does have a little bit of a flop because of that hinge. There's a lot of weight being used on that hinge, but it does have a pretty good hold on the back of the case as well, so you shouldn't have to worry about your phone just falling off your MagSafe accessory. And let's take a look at our camera button here. So to access the camera, just simply press in that button a couple times. It works really well. And let's test out the touch. So if we press in on that, it takes a picture. And then if you slide your finger across the button, you can go through the different selections here. We'll choose the exposure. And that seems to work pretty well. I found that these touch capacitive buttons work better when you slide the tip of your finger over the buttons, and it seems to work a lot better. And then kind of double press to get those features again, and then just single press to access the one you want. And the slide seems to work pretty good. It's another really nice case. Another thing I wanted to mention is this one little corner here is made of metal, so that's definitely reinforced if your phone happens to land on this one corner here, but you can easily see how big these corners are. So if you happen to drop your phone and it hits this corner, your phone is definitely going to be protected. And the cover on the back not only has the raised edge to protect your cameras, but it also has a full coverage camera piece in here that fills in the gaps between your camera lenses and the flash and everything like that. So it'll keep it protected from scratches and things like that as well, which I like. So you don't have to go and buy an extra protector. There's one already on the case. Another really great case by SUPCASE. I really like the way that it feels in my hand. I love the reinforcements in the corners to help with drop protection. Again, it also has a really nice raised edge to help protect the front of your phone. And I do like the inclusion of the metal kickstand and the camera cover, so it'll protect the back of your phone from scratches as well. The next case we're going to take a look at is the i-Blason Aries flip case. Now this case has three things that you would want most in a case. It's got 360-degree protection. It also has a MagSafe ring that supports the Qi 2 wireless standard, and a kickstand on the back that allows you to watch your favorite shows on the go. And because this case does support the new Qi 2 wireless standard, that means you can use up to 25-watt wireless charging. And because thickness matters more than ever now, the Aries Flip not only has strong magnets, but it also has a slim 1.76 millimeter back that ensures fast, stable charging and reduces heat while protecting your battery over time. Now, as you can see, this is a two-piece design, and like I mentioned before, it covers your phone 360 degrees because it does have a built-in tempered glass screen protector. No more film like some of the other cases have. This is real tempered glass. So before we put our phone inside the case, you want to make sure that you thoroughly clean off the screen with an alcohol wipe, because anything that's left on the screen will be trapped underneath. You also want to remove any tempered glass or film you have on your screen already. So we'll just clean off our screen really quick. And let's see how much this case weighs. 100.7 grams. Then dry it off. Then remove the inner protector. And then just place this over the top of your phone. Just like that. And then take this whole thing, and we're going to put this whole thing on the inside of our case. So it kind of cocoons your phone inside, so even if you happen to drop it, you don't have to worry about your phone falling out of the case or getting damaged. And then you can just simply remove the top cover. And there we go. Looks good on the phone, feels good in the hand. Buttons, nice and clicky, easily pressable. I also do love the little accented action button on the side. You can also see that it doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to your phone. Once again, if we do take a look at the case from the side, you can see how much of a raised edge we get all the way around the front of the screen. So it does help protect your tempered glass on the front as well. This whole case is made of a durable TPU and PC material. It's also got airbags in the corners to help with shock absorption in case you happen to drop your phone. On the bottom here, we do have cutouts for our speaker and our mic, along with a covered charging port, so it keeps all the dust and dirt out. On the other side, we do have a textured power button, and we also do have a touch capacitive button for our camera button. No more cutouts, it's an actual button that uses 19 pure copper conductors for a precise response. I really do like that. It does have a little cutout here so you can easily find that camera button, which I like. And we will go over this in further detail in just a moment. If we take a look at the back of the case, it does have a nice kind of smooth, plasticky type material. We also do have the MagSafe ring in the back here that does use N52 magnets with a holding force of up to 1,800 grams. We also do have a zinc alloy kickstand with a reinforced hinge, so you don't have to worry about this kickstand just flopping around. It's held in place really good, nice and strong, and it also protects your cameras with a really nice thick raised edge. And speaking of that MagSafe ring, you can very easily use a MagSafe charger like I have here that uses the Qi 2 standard, clips right onto the back, holds your phone in place, charges immediately, and it holds your phone in place really well. It's got a nice strong hold. When they say those magnets are strong, they aren't joking. It's held on there really good. So no matter if you're going to use a MagSafe accessory or a power bank, it's going to hold onto the case really well. Now let's take a look at our tempered glass screen protector. It does show fingerprints a little bit. You can see we already do have some smudges on the screen here, but you can very easily wipe those away with minimal effort because the screen does have an oleophobic coating. And as far as touch, it is pretty smooth. It does have a little bit of resistance, maybe not as smooth as the screen on the phone, but again, it is tempered glass. Touch seems to be working fine, as well as our Face ID, because this is a full coverage screen protector. You can also see that it is nice and clear. Touch working fine, no issues there. Let's take a look at our front camera. Front camera looks nice and clear. Don't see any issues with that either. And now let's take a look at our screen as if we were looking at it through polarized sunglasses to see if there's any bit of a rainbow. And you can see that it really doesn't have any rainbow effect. There was a slight bit of rainbow I saw, but like 99% no rainbow. That is awesome. So if you're going to be using polarized sunglasses, you're going to have a really good experience with this case. Now let's take another look at the camera button here. So if you want to access your camera, all you need to do is push this button in a couple times and you can access your camera. Let's take a look at the touch here. So touch seems to be working. I'll look at that zoom. We'll double press, access the different features here. It does have a little bit of a hard time with your fingers. You might want to just use your fingertip, and it seems to work a little bit better. Let's go to our cameras, press in, and we can go to the different zooms. Yeah, so it seems like if you use your fingertip, it seems to work a little bit better. So not too bad, seems to be working pretty good. If you want to take a picture, press in the button and it snaps a photo. It also has some cutouts for your front speaker as well, so you can easily hear. And let's take another look at the kickstand on the back. So you have a couple different ways that you can use this. One, you can use it in a portrait mode, kind of stand your phone upside down, or if you want to stand it up kind of in a portrait mode the normal way, it can't stand upright, but it does kind of angle perfectly towards your face, so you can, watch or take some Zoom calls, anything like that. And then if you want to lay it down in a landscape, you have a ton of different adjustment. I mean, it pretty much almost goes all the way down. That's how strong that hinge is, which I absolutely love, because sometimes you just never know what angle you need your phone, and this will definitely take care of that. You can also do it on the other side as well. Kind of angle your phone down and it will stay in place. You don't have to worry about your phone falling, and it just simply clips right back into place, and you don't have to worry about it kind of flopping off the case as well. It's held in place pretty good. So I like the way that the phone feels in the hand. I also love the fact that your phone is protected 360 degrees along with the tempered glass. I like the fact that they did not use film, because tempered glass is going to be more protective than film ever is. And I absolutely love the inclusion of this metal kickstand on the back with the strong MagSafe. So if you're looking for a case that's going to protect your phone, I would highly recommend the i-Blason Aries Flip. And then here we have the Mouse Limitless case. Let's see how much this case weighs. 45.9 grams. Now this is one of my most favorite mouse cases of all time. I've got it on my iPhone 16 Pro Max. I've got it on my Pixel 10 Pro XL. And I also have it on my Galaxy S25 Ultra. Like I said, this is one of my favorite mouse cases. It has aramid fiber on the back. This also does come in quite a few different other options if you don't want the aramid fiber. It also has some really good shock absorbing aero shock gel in the corners in case you happen to drop your phone. It will be protected. It also supports the Qi 2 wireless standard with MagSafe built in. And it also has a camera button that's covered with a glass button, so it's less likely to actually get all scratched up. So it's got this little tab here. We'll just rip this off, and you can see the button right there. I actually did a scratch test on one of the other cases that I've done in a previous video. But let's go ahead and put our phone inside the case. Fits the phone perfectly. Feels good in the hand. It does have some slight texture on the side to help with grip. As far as the buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable. Very nice. If we take a look at the case from the side, you can see how much of a raised edge we get on the top and the bottom of the case. So your screen should be protected even if you put your phone face down. I really do like that. You can see on the side here, again, we have the texturing. It also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone, which I like as well. We've got the reinforcements in the corners here, cutouts on the bottom, power button, and that camera button on the side here. On the back, it's got that really nice, soft, smooth aramid fiber that keeps down those fingerprints, and it's also scratch resistant. We also do have a slight raised edge above our camera lens for protection there too. So let's test out the MagSafe. I've got my Qi 2 wireless charger here. Clip it right onto the back. Charge your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, it has an okay hold. It's not the strongest and it's not the weakest that I felt. I think it's adequate enough to keep your phone on your MagSafe accessory without it just falling off. You can also rotate your phone pretty easily because of the smooth aramid fibers on the back. So now let's test out the camera button on the side. So we give that a double press, opens up our camera. We'll test out our touch here. So it seems like that's working pretty good. One other thing that I noticed is the camera button works a lot better if you use more of the tip of your finger versus your whole finger. You can see I'm kind of sliding my whole finger and it's not really working as well as if I just use the tip. It seems to work a lot better. So that's just something to keep in mind, but it does seem to be working pretty good. So again, this is a really nice case. It keeps your phone pretty slim while giving you some pretty good drop protection. I love the premium feel of the aramid fiber on the back. All the buttons seem to be working pretty good, and I do like the more aggressive raised edge on the front of the phone because if I'm going to be putting a tempered glass screen protector on here, I still want to have a pretty good raised edge. So I would definitely recommend the Mouse Limitless case. So here we have the ESR Hybrid Magnetic Case, which is part of their Classic series. This has been 3 times military grade drop tested. Here is the case. Let's see how much this weighs. 50.2 grams. It's a nice clear case. We've got a metal kickstand ring on the back as well as a full coverage camera protector. It is made of a hard plastic back with a MagSafe ring, and we've got a softer rubbery type material on the sides. So we'll put our phone inside the case. Fits the phone really well, feels good in the hand. It does have a little bit of a grip to it. As far as the buttons goes, buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable. If we take a look at the case from the side, we can see we do have a slight raised edge around the front of the phone. It's more prominent in the corners. Doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone either. We do have these little airbags in the corners to help with drop protection. Got lanyard holes in the corners. We've got our cutouts on the bottom here. We've got our power button and our camera button on the side. On the back, it's nice and clear to show off the color of your phone. It does pick up some slight fingerprints, but you can just very easily wipe those away. And we do have a really nice prominent ring around our camera lenses, and like I said before, we do have the camera protector that fills in the gaps in between the lenses themselves, so you don't have to worry about buying an extra protector, and it keeps it free from scratches. Now we also do have this camera guard, which is made of metal. Very nice. Nice and solid. Hinge is also really good. Doesn't just flop around. So you can use your phone in a landscape. You can kind of lay it down a little more to angle it towards your face. And you can also use your phone in a portrait mode as well. And then it just kind of folds right back into the case with a little clip, so you don't have to worry about the ring kind of just coming up off the case. Very nice design, and I think ESR was one of the very first to actually put this in their case as well. Absolutely love that. So let's test out the MagSafe ring on the back. We've got our T2 wireless charger. Wow, charges your phone immediately, and it's got a pretty good hold on the back as well, so you don't have to worry about your phone just falling off your MagSafe accessory. It's on there pretty good. It's pretty nice. I think that looks pretty good. Shows off the color of your phone. And it's more than just a simple case because it does have the inclusion of that metal ring around your cameras. Very nice, clear case. And then for our camera button, let's see how well that works. Double press that to open up your camera. And as far as the touch goes, touch seems to be working okay. And Yeah, it seems to be working just fine. So no problems there. I absolutely love the inclusion of the camera button because there's no little deep cutout that you have to press your finger in to actually use the button. I really do like that. So pretty nice case. Everything seems to work really well on it. Nice strong magnetic hold. Metal kickstand on the back for protection. Airbags in the corners for drop protection. Pretty nice clear case. And here we have the ESR soft magnetic case, which is part of their Cloud series. Here is the case. Let's see how much it weighs. Feels pretty nice. 52.9 grams. This does come in a couple different colors. This one's just orange to go along with my phone. I think it fits that perfectly. Feels really nice. It does have a sort of firm backing. It's got the MagSafe ring on the back along with the metal kickstand. And it's got a nice soft kind of microfiber on the inside to help keep your phone scratch free. Put our phone in the case. Fits the phone perfectly. Feels good in the hand. It's got that soft silicone type feel. It does have a little bit of a grip to it. As far as the buttons goes, buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable. There is also a slight raised edge around the front of the phone. Doesn't add a lot of extra bulk either. Got our cutouts on the bottom. Power button and camera button on the side along with the lanyard holes. And on the back, again, you can see that MagSafe. It's got kind of like a texturing to it. Feels pretty nice. And again, we do have that metal kickstand around our camera lenses along with the infill to protect the back of your camera from getting all scratched up as well. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And it's got a pretty good strong hold again on the back. So you don't have to worry about your phone just falling off your MagSafe accessory. It seems to be on there pretty good. And because of the silicone, it does have a slight bit of grip for the MagSafe too. And again, same inclusion of the metal kickstand ring. That's as far as it comes out. It does not go any further, but you can easily angle your phone down so you can watch some Netflix or YouTube, and then you can also have your phone kind of laying down in a portrait mode, aiming towards your face, and then it just kind of clips right back into the case as well. I love that design. Like, if you have a camera ring already, why not make the kickstand already there? It just works. So that's a pretty nice case. Again, camera button works perfectly. Very easily pressable. I love the fact that it's just flush with the case and it seems to work just fine. So another really nice silicone case. I know I say this every time, but I absolutely love the metal kickstand that doubles as your protector for your camera lenses. And then here we have the ESR Tough Magnetic Case. This is part of their Cyber series. This has been 7 times military grade drop tested. And here is the case. Let's see how much this weighs. Seems a little bit more rugged than the other cases. A little bit heavier too, 79.3 grams. It's got kind of like a subtle type of plasticky texture on the back, which is pretty rigid, surrounded by a rubbery type of material. This does also seem to be a 2-piece design case. It's got that hard plastic backing surrounded by the softer kind of rubbery insert. This does also have MagSafe built in, and it's got these little foam pads on the inside to help with drop protection as well, which is pretty nice. So we'll put our phone inside the case. Fits the phone nicely, feels pretty good in the hand. It does have like a subtle texture on the side to help with grip. As far as the buttons, nice and clicky, easily pressable. There is also a slight raised edge around the front of the phone, and you can see that it does add a little bit of extra bulk to the phone too, but you're getting that extra protection. You've got the texturing on the side, cutouts on the bottom, along with the covered charging port. We've got our camera button on the side along with our power button on the back. It's got, again, that kind of like a soft, not like soft, but a subtle plastic texture. You can see the outline of the MagSafe ring. Same metal kickstand on the back. And you can see how much it comes up off the camera lenses. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone. And again, it has a pretty good strong hold on there as well. But because there's no silicone or anything, you can freely kind of rotate this around your MagSafe accessory. And again, it's got that same strong hold as the other cases did as well. So that is definitely a plus. And again, I love the kickstand. Very easily use the phone in a landscape or a portrait mode. And then it kind of just folds right back into the case. Just works really well. I also do have this in a couple other colors as well. I've got orange and a black. I think that the orange would go pretty good with the orange phone, and I do like the contrasting black foam on the inside of the orange case. They both look pretty nice, but with the green and the orange, it kind of reminds me of like a halo color. That looks pretty cool. So if you're looking for the case that has the best drop protection that ESR sells, I would recommend the Tough Magnetic case. So here we have the Pitaka Ultra Slim case. This is an aramid fiber case, and it also seems to have a little aramid fiber button on the side. Let's see how much this case weighs. 23.2 grams, pretty light. And as I mentioned before, it's got a super slim little camera button on the side, which I haven't seen on any other minimalist case yet. So we'll see how good that works. We'll put our phone inside the case here. Clips right into place, nice and strong. Feels great in the hand. It's not grippy. It's got kind of like a smooth type of feel to it. But you can see how super slim it is. And the aramid fiber is also scratch resistant and fingerprint resistant as well. So if you have this in your purse or your pocket along with your keys or some coins, you shouldn't have to worry about it scratching up the back too much. We've got our cutout for our power button and our volume buttons and action button on the side. Cutouts on the bottom, which cover the majority of the bottom of the phone. And again, we have that camera button on the side. I can't wait to see how well that works. It does also have MagSafe built in. We've got our Qi 2 wireless charger here. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And it's got a pretty good strong hold on the back as well, so you don't have to worry about your phone just coming off your MagSafe accessory. Definitely a plus. We've got a plastic camera ring, which doesn't come up a lot, but it still does protect your cameras on the back. Now let's see how well this little camera button works. I'm pretty excited for this. I've never seen such a button on the side, so press it in a couple times. You don't really feel a click. You just kind of press it in a couple times. It is a little mushy. Let's see how good the touch is. And look at that. Touch seems to be working fine. Wow, it's actually working. I'm pretty impressed. Like I said, I've never seen this slim button on a minimalist case before, but I do like that. I'd rather have the side of the case all covered up versus having the cutouts, but seems to work great. Looks awesome on the phone as well. Keeps the phone super slim. It's nice and strong. Again, keeps down fingerprints and scratches. Not a lot, there's really nothing bad to say about this case. But if we take a look at the case from the side, you can see there's really not much of a raised edge, so your screen is kind of exposed. If you're going to be using this type of case, I would definitely recommend getting a tempered glass screen protector. But it does look great on the phone. Feels awesome in the hand too. And if you're worried this case is on the phone really well, it is not going to just come off the phone itself. You really have to want it to come off. And the easiest way that I found to take this off is to kind of hold the bottom end with one hand and kind of press back on one of the corners with your fingers and press through with your thumb on the camera. And it should just kind of pop off like that. And then here we have the Pitaka Aramid Pro Guard case. This is kind of like the minimalist case, but it offers a little bit more protection. So here is the case. Let's see how much it weighs. 38.6 grams. Feels pretty light. Does have the aramid fiber on the back surrounded by a rubbery type of material. We also do have a kind of like a, not like a suede, but I don't know, more like a foam on the inside to help with keeping your phone scratch free. Put our phone inside the case. Fits the phone good. Feels pretty good in the hand. It's not grippy, but it's not slippery. It's got kind of like a smooth, kind of rubbery type feel. As far as the buttons don't click, but they do press in fairly easily. You just have to press them a little bit harder than normal, but they do work, even though they don't have that clicky kind of feel. Especially the action button. It doesn't have much feedback, but they do work. We do have a slight raised edge around the front of the phone. It's more pronounced in the corners. It also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone. We seem to have some reinforcements in the corners to help with drops. That looks really good on the phone. Got our cutouts on the bottom, power button on the side, along with this kind of indent here where the camera button is supposed to be, but it's just kind of flat. We'll see how well that works too. On the back, again, it's got that kind of aramid fiber. It's got a slight texture to it. It is scratch resistant as well as fingerprint resistant. We've got our MagSafe built in, and we do have a slight raised edge around our camera. As you can see, it doesn't come up much past the lens, but there is a little bit of protection. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and it's got a pretty good strong hold again. You definitely don't have to worry about the phone just coming off your MagSafe accessory. It's on there pretty good. And this is definitely a really nice looking case. Fits the phone perfectly. So now let's test out the little camera button here. So if we double press that, opens up your camera, and let's see how the touch works. It's on spatial, let's put it on photo. So that's interesting enough. It does work with your touch. Yeah, it seems to be working. Not bad at all. That is really cool. I like how it's not like a full cutout, but it's a little indent, just so you can kind of feel it with your finger. So that is pretty cool. It's not clicky, so it's hard to kind of feel that you're actually pressing something in, but you actually are. But looks pretty cool anyway, and it seems to work well. Another really nice thing about this case is it does have some raised edges on the bottom of the case here, so when you put your phone on its back, it does not rock anywhere. It's pretty solid, which is pretty nice too. So if you like the minimalist case, but you want a little bit more protection, I would definitely recommend going with the Aramid Pro Guard case. Looks really nice. Camera button seems to work pretty good, and it's got that aramid fiber on the back. This is a really nice case. So the first RINGKE case we're going to take a look at is the Rugged Gear Magnetic. We'll see how much this case weighs. 51.2 grams. This case has a nice subtle kind of texturing on the back. The whole case is a little bit flexible, not really rigid. It does have a MagSafe ring on the inside, and it also has a full coverage camera protector on the back, which I like. So we'll put our phone inside the case. Feels good in the hand. Buttons protrude off the case really good, so you can very easily find each button. It does have a little bit of a grip to it because it's got some texturing on the side. The buttons are also nice and clicky and very easily pressable. If we look at the case from the side, we can see how much of a raised edge we get around the phone. It also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone. I do like the oversized volume and action button, which also does have some texturing on it to help with grip. You can see the little texturing on the side, lanyard hole here, cutouts on the bottom. We've got our power button, which is also textured, and we have a cutout for our camera button on the back. Again, you can see that kind of subtle texturing on the side, so you don't see any fingerprints. We have that full coverage camera protector on the back, and we also have a slight raised edge all the way around the camera. We also do have some reinforcements in the edges for drop protection. Check out the MagSafe with our Qi2 wireless charger. Clips onto the back, charges the phone immediately. And as far as the hold, it's got a nice strong hold on the back, so you don't have to worry about your phone just coming off your MagSafe accessory. And it also rotates pretty easily as well. Very nice so far. Now let's test out our camera button. So you just kind of get your finger in that little cutout. Access your camera. As far as touch, you're touching the camera, and the cutout is pretty shallow, so you can very easily access that button. Yeah, no problems there. Working really well. So this is a very nice protective case. It's got a nice strong MagSafe ring on the back, full coverage camera protector, reinforced edges, oversized buttons to make it easy to find and press. And it just seems like it gives you some pretty good protection, again, at a price that's not going to break the bank. So I would definitely recommend this, and this is probably going to be one of my favorite cases. And then here we have the RINGKE Alles case. This case does have a MagSafe ring that acts as a kickstand on the back, and it's got a really nice satisfying rotation as well. It's got a full coverage camera protector, and it also seems to be a two-piece design as well. So let's see how much this case weighs. 61.1 grams. Put our phone inside the case. Feels pretty good in the hand. It does have some texturing on the side to help with the grip. As far as the buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable. The only thing is they're almost flush with the case. They don't really give you a lot of like texturing to figure out which button you're actually pressing if you're not looking at the case. If we take a look at the side, you can see how much of a raised edge we get on the front of the phone. And you can see that it doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone, but we do have some slight texturing on the bottom and the side. Cutouts on the bottom. Our power button, which is kind of weird looking and textured, and it actually has a camera button on the side. On the back, it's got that MagSafe ring that also acts as your kickstand, and it's got a really satisfying click when you rotate it. So you can use your phone in a landscape, or you can also rotate it down in a portrait mode with a lot of different angles that you can angle your phone, and then it folds right back into the bottom or the back of the case. We also have a full coverage camera protector here that does come up pretty good up above our lenses. It's a pretty nice, interesting case. Let's check out the MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and as far as the hold, it's got a pretty good hold, but like all cases that have the kickstand where the MagSafe is, the hinge is going to be the weakest point. So, your case will kind of flop around if you happen to move it like this. But as far as the magnetic hold, it seems to have a pretty good hold on the back of the case. I can't do my regular test because the hinge, again, is that weak point, and it's just going to, kind of flop around. But it seems to have a pretty good, strong magnetic hold on the back. Now let's test out our camera button. Opens up the camera. As far as touch, touch seems to be working pretty good as well. Yeah, no issues there. So pretty good. So not a bad looking case. I'm not too partial to the two-piece design cases. I don't like the fact that this plastic back piece can kind of come off the phone. Even though this seems to be on there pretty good, I'm just not partial to it. That doesn't mean it's a bad case. That's just my preference. I do, however, like the kickstand on the back that has that like that clicky feel. Feels pretty cool, and the case does seem like it's really protective. Again, the buttons on the side, I would kind of like them a little bit more pronounced, so it'd be a little easier to find with your fingers. But not a bad case overall. And then here we have the RINGKE Onyx magnetic case. This is just another simple case that does have MagSafe built in. You can see it's really flexible. We'll see how much this case weighs. 41.5 grams. Feels pretty light. Put our phone in the case. Fits the phone really well. Feels good in the hand. It does have a slight texturing on the side to help with grip. As far as the buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable, and they only slightly come off the edge of the case, but you can still feel them if you run your fingers over it. If we take a look at it from the side, you can see that it doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone, and we also do have a pretty good raised edge on the top and the bottom of the case, not so much in the middle, so it's a little easier for you to swipe back and forth. We have some reinforcements in the edges for drop protection. We've got that texturing on the side, a lanyard hole, cutouts on the bottom, power button on the other side, and a cutout for your camera button on the back. It's got that kind of that subtle texturing, which feels pretty nice. Full coverage camera cover, and we also have some little rings around our camera lenses for protection there too. Looks pretty nice. Let's test out our MagSafe. Clips right onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, it's got an okay hold. It's not the strongest, but it's not super weak. It should definitely keep your phone on your MagSafe accessory, and you can also rotate it fairly easily as well. And I believe this also comes in different colors too if you don't just want black. And then as for the camera cutout, easily press the button for your camera, and it's pretty shallow, so you're actually touching the camera button pretty easily, so you can easily access everything that you need. No problems there. Another pretty nice, simple case. And then here we have the RINGKE Fusion Bold case. This case looks pretty nice. Has some really nice texturing on the side that I'll tell you about in just a minute why I like it so much. This case does have some stickers on the back and on the inside that you want to remove. It's got a nice matte back, which I love. There's also a sticker on the inside. That's glossy. We'll see how much this case weighs. 42.2 grams. We'll put our phone inside the case. Feels really good in the hand. And this case is the only other case that I've ever felt that uses these little micro textures. There's only one other case that I've ever tested that has the same thing. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Let me know in the comments below. But this does really feel good in the hand. Buttons, nice and clicky, very easily pressable. If we take a look at the case from the side, you can see that it's got a nice raised edge on the top and the bottom of the case. Doesn't add a lot of extra bulk either. You can see that micro texturing on the side, lanyard hole, cutouts on the bottom, power button on the other side, along with the cutout for your camera button. And on the back, it's got that nice transparent matte backing, so it'll keep down the fingerprints, but you can see the color of your phone. We've got our MagSafe ring and a full camera cover on the back as well, with these little raised rings for your camera lenses. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and as far as the hold, it's got a pretty good hold on the back. Not super strong, but it's not super light either. I definitely don't think you have to worry about your case just falling off your MagSafe accessory. Should be on there pretty good, and it also rotates pretty easily as well. And then for the camera button, just kind of press that in, access your camera, and you can very easily access everything you need from here because you're actually touching the button. And it's pretty shallow too, so you don't have to worry about digging your finger inside there. Really nice case. I'm definitely another fan of this case. I do like the matte backing, keeps down the fingerprints. It's got a pretty nice magnetic hold on the back. I love the micro texturing on the side, and I like the raised edges on the front of the case. And then here we have the RINGKE silicone case. This case is covered in all silicone, feels nice and soft, and it has some microfiber on the inside to help keep your phone scratch free, along with the MagSafe ring. Let's see how much this case weighs. 49.5 grams. And this case also does have a camera button on the side, not a cutout. So we'll put our phone inside the case. Fits the phone pretty nicely. It does feel good in the hand. It feels exactly like silicone. It's nice and soft. And it's got
to do that, you'll need to turn off airplane.
It's got a little bit of a grip to it. As far as the buttons on the side, nice and clicky, easily pressable. If we look at the case from the side, you can see that it's got a pretty even raised edge all the way around the front of the phone. Doesn't add a lot of bulk to the phone either. Cutouts on the bottom, power button, and our camera button. And on the back, again, it's all silicone, even the cover for your camera. And we have a pretty good raised edge around our camera lenses too. Looks really nice. I love the way that the silicone feels. Let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, this has a really strong hold on the back. Very nice. So you definitely don't have to worry about your phone just falling off your MagSafe accessory. It's going to be on there pretty good, and it also does rotate fairly easily. It's just got a little bit of grip because of the silicone on the back. Let's test out our camera button. Access the camera very easily. Let's go to our photos. There is a little bit of a resistance because of the silicone surrounding the button, but as far as the touch, it seems to be working pretty good. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be bad at all. Now, one thing to note is that this little piece right here is going to be the weak point of the case, and over time this might kind of sag a little bit, but for the rest of the case, it's got a nice firm edge. Again, it feels good in the hand. It's got that kind of silicone type grip. MagSafe is super strong, and I do like how it covers all of your cameras. And I do believe this comes in different colors as well. And then here we have the RINGKE Fusion X case in clear. There are some stickers you want to remove on the back and on the inside. And we'll see how much this case weighs. Feels pretty light. 40.6 grams. Put our phone inside the case. Fits the phone really well. Feels good in the hand. It does have some texturing on the side to help with grip. Buttons also easily pressable. They don't sound like they have a click, but they do click when I press them in, if that makes sense. But it does feel pretty good. On the other, if we take a look at the case from the side, you can see it does have a raised edge on the top and the bottom of the case. It also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone. We do have some texturing on the side here, along with a textured action button and some volume buttons. We have some reinforcements in the corners for drop protection. Cutouts on the bottom. We have a textured power button, which I like. Cutout for the camera button. And on the back shows off the color of your phone. As far as fingerprints, does seem to do a pretty good job at keeping down fingerprints too. I don't see any. Got our MagSafe ring and a full coverage camera protector. And we have a raised edge around the camera lenses as well, a little bit too. So let's test out that MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And for the hold, it's got an okay hold. It's not the strongest and it's not the weakest. I would say it's adequate. It's adequate enough to hold your MagSafe accessory on your phone. But again, like I said, it's not the strongest hold, but it's not the weakest. I'm not sure why this MagSafe ring is so much different than the other RINGKE cases, but that's what it is. It also has these little kind of rubber pieces on the bottom here and some texturing on the back sides. We'll test out our camera. Easily access the button, and the touch gestures seem to be working fine as well because you're actually touching the button. So this is another one of my favorite cases. It does have some pretty good protection from drops. It looks great and it also feels great in hand. I love the texturings that they put on the buttons and the side of the case. So the first SPIGEN case we have here is the Ultra Hybrid S case. And here is the case. It's a pretty simple, clear case. It's got half of a MagSafe ring, and it also has a metal kickstand on the bottom of the case. First, let's see how much this case weighs. 63.1 grams. It also has a couple pieces of plastic you want to remove on the top, and it doesn't seem like there's one on the inside. So it has a hard plastic backing surrounded by a softer rubbery type material. So we'll put our phone inside the case. Fits the phone.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Okay, fits the phone pretty good. Feels good in the hand. It does have a slight bit of grip to it. Buttons on the side are nice and clicky, very easily pressable. If we take a look at the case from the side, you can see that it only has a very slight raised edge around the front of the phone. So if you do use a tempered glass screen protector, you might actually lose all of that edge, and then you'll lose all the protection you have on the front of the screen, which is definitely not good. You can see that it doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone. The majority of the bulk is on the bottom here. I'm assuming because they wanted the kickstand to be flush in the case. We've got some airbags in the corners here to help with drop protection. Lanyard hole on the side here. Cutouts on the bottom. On the other side, we've got our metal power button. And for the camera button, it's not a cutout and it's not a button. It's like they kind of decided to make this piece here very thin. We'll see how well that works in just a minute. On the back here, we have half a MagSafe ring. It is clear, so you can see the color of your phone. And as far as fingerprints goes, it does seem to do a pretty good job at keeping down the fingerprints. We do have some slight smudges on the back, though. You should be able to pretty much wipe those away with minimal effort. We've got our metal kickstand here, which is pretty solid feeling. And the really cool thing about this that I haven't seen on any other case is it actually rotates. Now, I've seen other rotating kickstands that kind of come out of the back, but as for the little kickstand here, I haven't seen any rotate like this, which seems to be pretty cool. So you can have your phone in a portrait mode, maybe. Let's see how well that works again. Yeah, well, yeah, so you can do a portrait mode. You just gotta be careful with it, and then you can also, of course, lay it down in a landscape mode. And if you rotate it on the back here, you have some more adjustments to angle it more towards your face, and then it just kind of folds right back into the case, nice and flush, which I like. We also do have a slight raised edge around our camera lenses for some protection there too. They're being very stingy with their protective raised edges for some reason. I'm not sure why they opted to do that. But I'm really curious to see how well this camera button works. But we'll just see that in just a minute. Let's test out our MagSafe. Got our MagSafe charger here. Well, it clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, it actually has a pretty strong hold on the back of the phone. So you definitely don't have to worry about the phone falling off your MagSafe accessory. Yeah, that's a pretty strong hold. I really like that. So let's test out our camera button here. So you can double press that to access the camera. It just kind of presses in like a thin piece of plastic, and we'll see how the touch goes. Not too bad. Double tap. Yeah, that works. I'm pretty impressed. So it's, like I said, it's not a button. It's just a very thin piece of plastic that they opted to use there, and it looks like it's got like a little, I don't know, like a little frosted piece on it, but it seems to work perfectly fine. I'm pretty impressed. So not too bad. I like this case. I like the anodized buttons. I like the kickstand on the back. It's got a nice strong magnetic hold, and the camera piece here seems to work really well. The only thing that I don't like about this case is the small raised edge around the front of the phone and the camera. That's about it. If you can get past that, this seems to be a pretty nice clear case. And then here we have the SPIGEN Tough Armor T case. And here is the case. Let's see how much it weighs. 58.1 grams. This seems to be like a two-piece design case. It's got a hard plastic outer shell surrounded by a kind of like a firm rubbery type material. We also do have some foam on the inside to help with drop protection. We've got MagSafe built in. It also has a full coverage camera protector on the back, and we've got a little piece of plastic here for a kickstand. It's pretty flimsy. So let's put our phone inside the case. Feels pretty good in the hand. The only thing is it feels kind of slick, which I don't care for, because that just means it's more likely that the phone will slide out of your hand. The buttons on the side here are clicky, easily pressable, but they kind of blend in with the side of the case, so it might be a little hard to find, especially if you're trying to silence your phone in your pocket or something like that. I like the buttons to kind of protrude off the case just a little bit so you can easily feel them. But the action button is kind of serrated on the side. You can also see that this case has a very slight raised edge, again, just like the clear case. It's got some extra protection in the corners. There are your volume buttons and the serrated action button. Got our cutouts on the bottom. Got our power button on the side, and we actually have a camera button and not just a cutout. On the back here, it's got a nice soft feel, which should keep down the fingerprints. Again, we've got this kickstand here that's just like really flimsy piece of plastic, and you're only going to be able to use your phone in a landscape mode. But we do have the full coverage piece on the back here that protects the rest of your camera from scratches, and we only have a very slight raised edge around the camera lens there. So again, like I said, this has MagSafe. Let's test that out. Charges your phone immediately, and as far as the hold, it's got a pretty good hold on the back of the case as well. You don't have to worry about the phone just falling off your MagSafe accessory. It's not the strongest I felt, but I think it's adequate for holding your phone on your MagSafe accessory. So let's test out the camera button on the side here. You access your camera easily, and as far as the touch, seems to work better if you use the tip of your finger and not just like the whole thing. But it does seem to work. So not too bad. So not a horrible case. I do like the fact that it covers the inner portion of your camera between the lenses. I don't care for the kickstand. The buttons on the side, again, they're flush with the case, so they're going to be a little bit harder to find if you're not actually looking at the case. And the camera button seems to be working okay. I would also really like to see more of a raised edge on the front of the phone. For me, I would say pass on this case. And here we have the SPIGEN Silicone Fit case. So here is the case. It is a nice kind of soft feeling silicone case. Let's see how much it weighs. 40.1 grams. On the inside, it does have like a microfiber to keep your phone from getting all scratched up. It's got metal accented buttons, and it's got a cutout for your camera. There's no actual button. Put our phone in the case. Fits the phone pretty good. It feels good in the hand, but again, this case feels like on the verge of being slick. I do like that soft touch feel, but when you're trying to hold onto your phone, it's not a good thing. As far as the buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable. If we take a look at the case from the side, again, same small raised edge around the front of the phone, but it doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone either. We've got those metal accented buttons on the side, cutouts on the bottom, power button, and you've got the cutout for your camera button on the back. It's all the nice soft touch silicone, and we only have a slight raised edge around our camera lenses. So let's see how the MagSafe hold is. Charges your phone immediately, and it's got a pretty good hold on the back of your phone. You don't have to worry about the phone just falling off. It's on there pretty good, so that's definitely a plus. So as far as the camera button goes, of course, you kind of have to press your finger inside the little cutout here, and the touch is going to work fine because you're actually touching that button. But it is nice and smooth, so your finger just kind of glides in this little cutout here. So it's not all bad. So this is a nice soft touch silicone case. I like the buttons, very nice and premium. The cutout isn't horrible. MagSafe is it is pretty strong on the back. Again, the only thing I don't like about this case is the way that it feels kind of slick, and again, the slight raised edge around the front of the phone. I think because of the slickness of the case, I would say pass on this one as well. And here we have the SPIGEN Ultra Hybrid case. And here is the case. It's got a pretty cool accented orange MagSafe ring on the back. This weighs 40.8 grams. This also does have a sticker on the back you can remove. And this case has a matte frosted back. So it shows off the color of your phone and it keeps down those fingerprints, which is nice. Put our phone inside the case. So it feels pretty good in the hand. It feels like a smooth type of rubber. It's not grippy. As far as the buttons on the side, buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable. I don't understand what it is with SPIGEN this year and this raised edge. It's so small. I don't know why they couldn't just put up just a little bit more to give your front screen a little more protection. But it does keep your phone pretty slim. We've got our volume buttons and our power button on the side, cutouts on the bottom, power button and an actual camera button on the side here. We also do have a lanyard hole on the back. Again, shows off the color of your phone, keeps down those fingerprints. We've got the accented MagSafe ring here, which is a full MagSafe ring. And we also do have more protection on the back for the middle part of your camera. And we only have a very slight raised edge around the camera lenses. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, it's got a pretty good strong hold on your phone. You definitely don't have to worry about it falling off. That's one good thing about SPIGEN this year is they do have nice strong magnets. So that is definitely a huge plus. I really do like that. And as far as the camera button on the side, it does have a little bit of a dip in here to kind of help you find that button, which I appreciate. Double press that to open up your camera. And as far as the touch, seems to be working pretty good as well. I can't really complain about that either. So definitely not a bad case. There's a lot of good things going for this case. Again, the only thing that I really would like to see a little different is the raised edge on the front of the phone. I would like a little bit more protection for my screen, and I'm sure you all would too, but everything else about this case is pretty nice. Then here we have the SPIGEN Thin Fit, and here is the case. See how much this weighs. 37.5 grams. Not super thin. It's almost as heavy as some of the other cases. It does have a kind of a flexible back, but it's a little bit rigid. It's got like a matte finish to keep down those fingerprints, and on the side it's got a nice rubbery edge. This does also have MagSafe built in. Fits the phone pretty good. Feels nice in the hand. It's got a slight bit of grip to it because of the grip or the back and the rubber edge here. So it helps with grip, which is nice. Buttons, nice and clicky, easily pressable. If we take a look at the edge here, again, same slight raised edge around the front of the phone. It does help keep the phone nice and slim though. We've got our power, our volume buttons and our action button on the side, cutouts on the bottom, power button, and we also do have what looks to be a camera button. It might not actually be a button, it might just be that same slim piece of plastic, but we'll test that out in just a minute. On the back, again, it's got like a nice matte feel to it, so it keeps down those fingerprints. It also does have a full coverage camera cover on the back, which I like, and again, the raised edge around the camera lenses is just ever so slight. Let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charge your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, it's got a pretty good strong hold on the back as well. And because of that mat on the back, the phone doesn't slide on the MagSafe super easy. It feels more stuck in place. So if that's what you like, this might be a good case for you. But if you typically rotate your screen easily, this is not going to be that case. But it does have a pretty good strong hold on the back. Now let's test out the camera button here. So you double press that, no issues. And as far as the touch working really good. Yeah, it's working really nice here. No problems whatsoever. So for this kind of, I don't know if that's a button or just a cutout piece. Not a cutout, but like a slim plasticky piece. But whatever it is, it seems to work really well. Some of the best that I've seen on any case. So again, another really nice case. Got a nice strong magnetic hold. Camera button works flawlessly. Again, the only thing I would like to see a little different is the more of a raised edge around the front of the screen, but definitely not a bad case. And here we have the SPIGEN Nano Pop case. And here is the case, and let's see how much it weighs first. 45.1 grams. Now, if you've seen any of my other reviews that I've ever done on any of the other SPIGEN Nano Pop cases, you'll know why I like this case. And it's the only thing that I've seen on the Nano Pop SPIGEN do. I wish they would do this more on every case because it would make the case feel so much better in hand. This case actually has these little micro textures on the side, and surprisingly, it really does help with grip. You don't have to make them, super aggressive. Just little texturing helps with grip tremendously. But this is a kind of flexible type case. It does have MagSafe built in. Let's put our phone in the case. Case feels good in the hand. Those micro textures doing their job, giving the phone some perfect grip. And it, again, like I said, it's not aggressive. It's just a whole bunch of little micro textures that feels really good. If you've never felt the Nano Pop in hand, I definitely would recommend it. As far as the buttons, nice and clicky, easily pressable. If we look at the phone from the side, again, same slight raised edge around the front of the phone. Doesn't add a lot of extra bulk, which I like. Got the accented kind of shimmering buttons on the side, cutouts on the bottom. We've got our power button, and which seems to be that same little thin piece of plastic on the side for the camera button. Not really a cutout, but not really a button. But it should work pretty good based on what we've seen. On the back, it's got a nice matte finish. Keeps down those fingerprints, and we do also have a full coverage camera insert here with only those slight raised edges around our camera lens. So let's see how good the MagSafe ring is. Charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, got a nice strong hold on the back, so you don't have to worry about your phone coming off. Really like that. This one does rotate a little bit, but again, it's got kind of like that grip on the back, so it doesn't rotate super easy, but I do like the hold on the back for the MagSafe. Now, as far as the little camera button here, double press that, you can access your camera. And as far as the touch working great. Look at how responsive that is. That's incredible. Like, it works just as good as you touching the button. I don't know how they did it, but it works really well. So another really nice case. I do like the inclusion of the full insert to protect your camera lenses. The back has a nice feel to it. The little texturing on the side helps give the phone some really nice grip. I like the buttons. The MagSafe on the back is nice and strong. Again, the only thing is, I would like to see more of a raised edge around the front of the phone. But other than that, this is a really nice case. And here we have the SPIGEN Rugged Armor case. And here we have the case. Let's see how much it weighs. 48 grams. This is one of my more favorite simple SPIGEN cases. I like the subtle kind of rubbery texturing on the back. keeps down fingerprints. It's also scratch resistant. We've got a carbon fiber looking inlay on the back as well. Full coverage inlay for the camera protector. This is also a pretty flimsy case. It's got MagSafe built in, and it's also got some foam pads on the side to help with drop protection. Fits the phone really well, feels great in the hand. It does have some slight texturing on the side to help with grip. As far as the buttons goes, they're clicky, easily pressable. If we look at it from the side, you can see that this particular case has more of a raised edge on the front of the phone, on the bottom and the top. Not so much in the middle, but more on the top and the bottom. I don't know why they didn't do this for every one of the SPIGEN cases. It just really doesn't make sense. But you can see the texturing on the side here. You can see it also keeps the phone pretty slim. We've got our volume and action button on the side, cutouts on the bottom. We have that same little camera piece on the side here, our power button, lanyard hole, along with the texturing. On the back, again, it's got that nice kind of subtle texturing on the back with the carbon fiber looking inlay. Full coverage for the camera, and this also does have a more of a raised edge to protect your camera lenses as well. Again, why they didn't put this on every case, I really don't know. Let's test out the MagSafe on the back. Clips onto your phone, charges immediately, and as far as the hold, again, it's got a pretty nice hold on the back of the phone, so you don't have to worry about it just falling off. And this also does have a slight grippiness when you try to rotate your phone as well. But the MagSafe hold is pretty good. It might not be as strong as some of the other cases, but it's almost there. Definitely good enough to hold your phone on your MagSafe accessory. So now let's test out the camera button. Opens your phone, no problem. As far as touch working great again. Again, I don't know how they did that, but they really got that dialed in. It works really well. So definitely not a bad case. There is one thing that I really kind of wish was a little different on this phone is the buttons on the side. They don't come off the case enough. I would like to see them come off a little bit more to make it a little bit easier to find. But everything else about this case is pretty nice. Camera button, flawless. I like the full coverage camera protector on the back. I also like the subtle texturing on the back of the case. Feels great in the hand. It also has more of a raised edge for front and rear camera protection. So really not a lot bad to say about this case. Again, like I mentioned before, this is one of my more favorite SPIGEN cases. And here we have the SPIGEN Ultra Hybrid T. And here is the case. See how much it weighs. 40.6 grams. I do have a little plastic piece here to kind of peel off. Looks like a pretty nice case. It does have a hard plastic backing surrounded by a firmer rubbery type material, and it also has an accented camera button, which is pretty nice looking. Put our phone in the case. Fits the phone really well. It does have a nice grip to it. Feels really good in the hand. Buttons on the side are nice and clicky, easily pressable, but the one thing about this case is the buttons are pretty much flush with the case, so it might be a little harder to try to find those if you're not looking at the phone. If we take a look at it from the side, you can see that it's got that ever so slight raised edge on the front of the phone. It doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone either. We've got these slight airbags in the corners for drop protection. We have like a serrated action button, our volume buttons, cutouts on the bottom, power button on the side with the accented camera button. On the back, it's got that accented piece where your wireless charging would go. We have a full coverage camera protector, but the ring around the cameras doesn't come up very much. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back very nicely, charges the phone immediately, and it's got a super strong hold on the back. Like, this is probably one of the strongest MagSafe SPIGEN holds that I've felt. So you definitely don't have to worry about your phone coming off your MagSafe accessory. It's on there really good. Very nice. Let's test out our camera button. very clicky, opens the camera without issue. And as far as touch seems to be working. It doesn't seem to work as good as the other one without the button, but if you use the tip of your finger, it seems to work a little bit better rather than just kind of sliding your whole finger. It's the tip of your finger that seems to work the best. So it does work pretty good. Again, just use the tip of your finger. So not a bad case. I love the strength of the MagSafe hold on the back, the inclusion of the full coverage camera protector. Camera button works pretty good. Again, if you use the tip of your finger. The only thing I don't care about for this case are the buttons on the side. I would like to see them protrude out from the case a little bit more and more of a raised edge around the front of the phone. And here we have the SPIGEN Enzo Aramid T case. So this is supposed to be one of SPIGEN's more premium feeling and looking cases. It's got the aramid fiber on the back, metal buttons on the side, and the metal camera ring around the back too. Let's see how much this weighs. 50.8 grams. So it looks pretty nice. Let's see how good it feels in the hand. It does have a solid firm backing surrounded by a softer, firmer, rubbery type material. Let's put our phone inside the case. So it feels pretty good in the hand. It does have a little bit of a grip to it on the side, which is nice. As far as the buttons are nice and clicky, very easily pressable, and they come off the case just enough so you can easily find them with your finger. If we look at it from the side, it looks like it's got a slightly more of a raised edge than some of the other SPIGEN cases, which I particularly like. It also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone. You can see those cool accented metal buttons on the side, cutouts on the bottom. We've got that same metal power button on the side. We actually do have a camera button, which is pretty flush with the case, so it's going to be a little harder to find. But on the back, we've got that aramid fiber. It is scratch resistant, keeps down fingerprints. We've got this little metal accented piece right here. We've got the metal ring around our camera lenses, and it also seems to come up ever so slightly more for some more camera protection there too. Nice case. Let's check out the MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and as far as the hold, holy cow, it's got a nice strong hold on the back, so you definitely don't have to worry about your phone just coming off your MagSafe accessory. It's on there really good. This has, again, some of the strongest magnetic hold on the SPIGEN cases that I have felt so far. So that is definitely a plus. Now let's check out the camera button. So again, it's kind of hard to find on the side because it's flush, but it does open your camera without issue. As far as touch seems to be working pretty good. And camera button's working perfectly fine. So I think they really did this case good this year. Very nice, because I think typically this case feels kind of slippery, but it does feel a little bit more grippy for this go around, which is definitely a plus. So again, it's got a super strong magnetic hold on the back. I love the metal accents around the phone. It makes it and looks more premium along with the aramid fiber. Camera button works perfectly. It seems to have a slightly more of a raised edge than some of the other cases. I definitely like this case and I would recommend it. The first BODYGUARDZ case we have here is the Accent. It's been drop tested up to 18 feet and it has a no yellowing guarantee. So here is the case. It does come with this little white lanyard, which is pretty nice. We'll see how much this case weighs. 44.5 grams. It does have a firm hard backing surrounded by a firmer rubbery type of material. It also does have a camera button instead of just a cutout. Let's put our phone inside the case. Fits the phone really well, feels good in the hand. It does have a bit of a grip to it. Buttons on the side are clicky, easily pressable. One thing to note is the buttons on the side of the case are totally flush with the case, so they might be a little difficult to find, especially if you're just trying to feel around with your hand. If we take a look at the case from the side, it does have a slight raised edge around the front of the phone. It also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone either. We've got our cutouts on the bottom. We've got our power button and that accented white camera button on the side, which we will test out in just a minute. On the back, shows off the color of your phone, has a nice MagSafe ring on the back, and as far as fingerprints, does seem to do a pretty good job at keeping down the fingerprints, and we have a pretty good raised edge for camera protection on the back as well. So now let's test out the MagSafe on the back. Got our MagSafe charger, charges your phone immediately, and as far as the hold, it has an okay hold on the back. It's not the strongest, but it's not the weakest. I think it should hold onto your phone pretty good, but again, it's not the strongest hold that I felt on a MagSafe ring, but it should be adequate. So now let's test out the camera button. Again, this button is pretty much flush with the case. It just has a little bit of a bump. You can easily access your camera, and we'll see how well touch works. So touch seems to be working pretty good here. It accessed something that I didn't like. I didn't press that. I did not want that. So I'm trying to swipe down to touch something else. And it's like selecting. I'm not sure why it's doing that. So the swipe does seem to be working pretty good, but for some reason it seems to be selecting when you don't want to. So it does seem to want to do that easily. I'm not sure why. So that's something to keep in mind. Pretty nice clear case. It does have a couple issues. You saw as the camera button was selecting when I didn't want it to. The hold on the MagSafe is okay. It's not the strongest, but it's not the weakest. I do like the way that it feels in the hand. The buttons on the side, I would like to see them protrude out from the case a little bit so it would be easier to find. And more of a raised edge on the front of the screen for some more protection there too. And then here we have the BODYGUARDZ Ace Pro. This case has been drop tested up to 18 feet, and it also does have an anti-yellowing guarantee. This case does come with a black lanyard as well. Here is the case. It is pretty flexible. It does not have any rigid parts on it. We'll see how much this case weighs. 39.8 grams. Put our phone inside the case. Fits the phone pretty good. Feels pretty good in the hand. It does feel like smooth plastic. As far as the buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable. The case does not have any grip to it, but it does have these little like stipplings on the side to try to help with grip, but it just feels like a smooth plastic. The buttons are also flush with the case, so again, it might be a little hard to try to find those buttons on the side. If we look at the case from the side, you can see it's got a slight raised edge around the front of the phone. It also keeps the phone pretty slim. You can see the little stippling better on the side here. And we've got the flush volume and action button. Cutouts on the bottom. We've got the power button here and a camera button. On the back, shows off the color of your phone. In the smoke, we have our MagSafe ring, and we also do have a pretty good raised edge around our camera lens too. So let's test out the MagSafe on this case. It's really grippy. It charges your phone immediately, and as you can see, your phone does not rotate at all. It's got like a super grip on the MagSafe. As far as the hold is just okay. It's not really strong. It's not the weakest I felt, but that grip, like, it does not move at all. Like, it's on there. So if you ever rotate your screen, this might not be the case for you. So let's test out our camera button. Access the camera really easily. Let's see how the touch works on this one. Scrolling seems to work okay. Let's test out the touch, and seems to select things you don't want. Yeah, like it's select. Same thing with this case. This camera button, I'm not sure what's going on with it. It does kind of work with when you're sliding your finger, but when you want to make a selection and you slide, it may select something that you don't want to, and it seems to happen over and over again. So I'm not really too sure what's going on with that button. But, you know, other than that, I do like the way that it looks. It does have a nice raised edge. I would like to see it have a better grip. Like I said, it just feels like a smooth plastic. I would like to see the buttons protrude out of the side so you can find them a little easier. I would like to see more of a raised edge on the front of the phone, and the camera button seems to have some issues. I do also have the Ace Pro in a baby blue and a clear. Just put this on the phone really quick, see what it looks like. I like the way that the clear looks. It's got like these white bumpered accents on the inside of the case, which looks pretty cool. And then as far as the baby blue goes, it has those same kind of white accents on the inside. It looks pretty cool too. I think these cases would go really good with the silver iPhone. And then here we have the BODYGUARDZ Pulse case. This one comes in quite a few different colors that I have. I'll show you in just a moment. It does have the directional sound. It's been drop tested up to 16 feet, and it also has the cooling pad on the inside to help keep your battery a little cooler. See, this is green, and they also do come with an accented lanyard. And here is the case. Let's see how much this weighs. 59.9 grams. There, as you can see, the cooling pad on the inside. It does feel cool to the touch. It also has these little vents on the side you can see to help dissipate the heat on the inside of the case. This is a pretty flexible case as well. It does have a metal camera ring. We have a camera button, and it looks like some accented aluminum buttons as well, and a nice kind of textured back. So we'll put our phone inside the case here. Feels pretty good in the hand. It's not grippy. It does have like a smooth plastic type feel. Buttons, nice and clicky, easily pressable. Again, these buttons are pretty flush with the case, so you might not feel them if you're not actually looking directly at your phone. If we look at the case from the side, we do have a slight raised edge all the way around the front of the phone. It also keeps your phone pretty slim. We've got the accented green buttons on the side. You can see those vents along the edge. We have a cutout for our charging port on the bottom, but you notice there's no cutouts for the mic and the speaker, and I'll show you about that in just a minute. On the other side, our power button and that camera button as well. On the back, it has like a slight texture on the back to help keep fingerprints down. Metal camera ring around the edge there, and it comes up just a little bit above our camera lenses. It also does have MagSafe built in, so let's test that out. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and as far as the hold, this case has a pretty decent hold on the case. You don't have to worry about the phone just falling off your MagSafe accessory, and it also does rotate, so that's pretty nice. Now, as far as the cutouts on the bottom here, they've actually opted to not cut them out on the bottom, but rather leave little cutouts on the front here so the sound kind of comes out towards your face. So let's test that out really quick. Play like a little YouTube video here.
I remember after that first Pomp episode, I remember coming back, we're in Miami, I went back home, I woke my wife up and I said, babe, we got to take all of our money and we got to dump it into that car. I swear to God, in my life, I said that. You know what? We should have. You're so rich. It would have been rough, but then I would have multiple times of saying, I told you so.
So it does actually seem to work. It makes the sound come up towards your face instead of it firing down outside of the bottom of the case. So that seems to work out pretty good. Now let's test out our camera button here. This button does protrude off the side of the case a little bit, so it's easier to find. So I'll press that in. Accesses your camera very easily. Let's go to our photo here, try out our touch. Seems like the touch is working good here. And it seems like it's a little delayed. I'm not sure what that is about. and it did kind of select something when I didn't want it to, but this one seems to be working a little bit better than the other cases that we've reviewed. I say that and then it selects something that I didn't want, like it just did again. So it's kind of hit and miss with this button working. Once it's selected on something, it does seem to work fairly good, but when you want to try to select something else, you might have a difficult time trying to select what you need, and it might select something that you don't want. So that's that. But other than that, this case seems to be pretty nice. Again, I would like to see the buttons protrude off the case a little bit, kind of more like the camera button here, to make it a little easier to, find. I do like the fact that the sound comes off the phone at your face, which is pretty cool. And I do have a couple other colors here as well. Like I mentioned, we've got the black, the purple, and the white. I think these look pretty cool. Let's try out our white. That looks pretty nice. Like the accented buttons on the side. Here's the purple. I think that looks pretty cool too. I like that purple color. And here is the kind of grayish color. Gray-black. I think that looks pretty nice too. It is more of a gray color than it is a black. And then here we have the BODYGUARDZ Performance Pro case. This case has been drop tested up to 18 feet, and it has the same cooling properties as the Pulse did, but it also does have a metal kickstand on the back. This also does come with an accented lanyard. And here is the case. Let's see how much this weighs. 64.4 grams. On the inside, you can see that cooling pad, which is cool to the touch. It's got MagSafe built in. And we've got that metal kickstand on the bottom here. It does have a hard plastic back surrounded by a firm rubbery type material. Fits the phone really well. Feels pretty good in the hand. Again, it's not grippy. It just has that smooth plasticky type feel.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Interesting enough, the buttons on this case actually protrude off the case a little bit. It's not actually flush, and they're really easy to press, nice and clicky as well. If you look at the case from the side, you can see that it's got about the same raised edge as the other cases. Got some little extra protection in the corners here. There's our volume and action buttons. You can see those vents along the edge here to help dissipate the heat from your phone. Cut out on the bottom, but again, there's no cutouts for the speaker or mic on the bottom. It's towards the front of the phone. We've got our power button and a camera button on the side. On the back, it's got a nice subtle texture on the back as well to help keep fingerprints down. We also have the metal kickstand on the back here, which holds your phone pretty good. It doesn't just flop around, and you can put your phone in a portrait or a landscape mode, and then it just kind of folds right back into the case. We also do have a decent raised edge around our camera lenses as well. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, it's got a pretty good hold on the back. I think this case has probably the strongest hold of all the BODYGUARDZ cases, and it also easily rotates around your MagSafe accessory as well. So that is definitely a plus. Now let's test out our camera button. The camera button also protrudes off the case a little bit, which I like. Easily access your camera. Let's test out our touch. So again, this camera button seems to be having the same issues as the other one. It's selecting things that I don't want it to select. But once you have a selection made, the button seems to work okay. It seems to have some issues when you're sliding it and you want to select something. It does kind of work, but it's also hit and miss. When you're sliding it, it might select something like it just did when you don't want it to. And then as far as our sound goes, you can see the little vents coming up from the bottom here. So let's play a YouTube video.
So at the recent Eastern Economic Forum in Russia, one of Vladimir Putin's...
So again, just like the Pulse, the sound does aim towards your face more instead of it coming down from the bottom. So that is definitely a plus. And also, let's test out our voice memos to see if this has any effect on that. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Just wanted to see how well the microphone picks up my sound because there's no vents on the bottom of the phone. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Just wanted to see how well the microphone picks up my sound because there's no vents on the bottom of the phone. So not too bad. Seems testing, 1, 2, 3. Just wanted to see how. So it seems to work out pretty good. This case, I do like the buttons that come off the case a little bit. They're easier to find. They're very clicky and easily pressable. The little vents on the bottom here seem to work really well for sound as well. The MagSafe on the back is pretty strong. I do like the inclusion of the metal kickstand here. But the only thing about this case and all of BODYGUARDZ cases, it seems like they're having issues with the little camera button on the side here. And I've also got this case in 3 different colors as well. We got the blue, the black or the dark gray, and the brown. Here's the brown with the brown lanyard. Kind of an interesting color to go along with the cosmic orange. Here's the blue with the blue lanyard. And then here we have the gray. So the first OTTERBOX case we're going to check out is the OTTERBOX Profile case. So here is the case itself. It does seem very simple. It just has a hard plastic clear backing surrounded by a rubbery type material. So we'll put our phone inside the case here. Feels okay in the hand. It's not grippy, but it's not slippery. It's just got kind of like a smooth kind of plasticky feel. It's not even rubbery. It's just, it feels like a smooth plastic. As far as the buttons goes, not very pressable. They're a little bit hard to press in, not like some of the other cases that I've tested out. There also is a pretty sharp edge for your camera cutout that my bottom 2 fingers kind of keeps sliding on. And you can feel it's a little bit sharp, which I don't like. There is also a cutout instead of an actual button. If we look at the case from the side, you can see that it does have a pretty good raised edge all the way around the phone. You can see we've got our volume buttons and our action button. Just these buttons are they're not clicky and they're a little bit hard to press in. I don't like that. And if you've watched my videos, you'll know that. We've got our cutouts for our charging port, our speakers, and our mic. On the other side, we've got our power button and that cutout for our camera button. And you guys can't really tell, but there's this like a sharp raised edge here. They should have really smoothed that out. I'm not sure why they didn't. On the back, it does show off the color of your phone, and you can see that it does pick up some smudges already. You can wipe those away fairly easily just with your finger. And around the camera, we do have a pretty good raised edge for some protection there too. Now let's test out the camera cutout. So if you get your finger here, you kind of have to press in to get to the button, but it can be done fairly easily. And as far as the touch goes, test out our photos. Do the back here. And it does seem to work perfectly fine because there is no button. It's your actual finger. Not too bad. Pretty good. You just have to kind of press your finger in here just a little bit to touch that button. But the biggest concern I have with this case is this sharp edge here that doesn't feel too good when you're resting your fingers down at the bottom. You can definitely feel that sharp edge. I mean, it's just a simple kind of clear case. Again, I'll address the things that I don't like about it. One is the sharpness of the edge here. Two, the buttons are not clicky and they're a little hard to press in, which I don't care for because there are better cases out there that don't have those issues. But I do like the raised edge on the front, and I do like the raised edge around the camera. So based on the things that I've experienced, I would tell you to stay away from this case because, again, there are better options. And here we have the OTTERBOX Symmetry case. This has been 3 times military grade drop tested, but it doesn't say exactly how many feet that is. And here we have the case. Again, it's just another simple clear case. It does have a hard plastic backing with half of a MagSafe ring. I'm not sure why they did that. And then it's surrounded by a firm rubbery type of material. So we'll put our phone inside the case. So this case feels pretty good in the hand. It does have some grip to it as far as the buttons goes. Buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable, which is nice. If we take a look at the case from the side, you can see that it has a slight raised edge around the front of the phone, and it also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk either. Got our lanyard hole in the bottom here, cutouts on the bottom. We've got these little lanyards in each one of the corners. No airbags for extra shock absorption. On the other side, we do have our power button, and it looks like we do have an included camera button as well, which we will test out. On the back, again, shows off the color of your phone, which is nice, but I'm not sure why they didn't include the full MagSafe ring, but we'll test that out in just a second. And it's got a pretty good raised edge around the camera lenses as well. So let's test out our MagSafe. We have our MagSafe charger here. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and it's got a pretty weak hold on the back of the case, so that's definitely not good. I mean, it just, with just the flick of the wrist, it kind of comes off. You can see how easily I'm taking off this magnet. So the MagSafe magnet is not strong at all. That's definitely a downside for me. Now let's test out our camera button here. So you just press that in, access the camera. We'll test out our touch. And touch seems to be working okay. Yeah, not too bad. Seems to be working pretty good. So the button seems to be working well also. So again, just another kind of clear case, very simple, but it will protect your phone. The only things that I don't like about it are the MagSafe ring in the back is super weak. So if you're going to be using any MagSafe accessories, they might actually fall off the back of the phone, or the phone might actually fall off the MagSafe accessory, especially if you're using one for your car. So that's just something to keep in mind. Again, there are better options out there to protect your phone and have better MagSafe rings. So again, I would tell you to just skip this case. And then here we have the OTTERBOX Commuter Drop Plus case. This has also been 3 times military grade drop tested. And here is the case. This does seem to be a 2-piece design. It's got a hard plastic shell on the back, and on the inner portion it's just like a soft rubbery type material. And I will tell you from past experience, I don't care for these kinds of cases, especially the ones that are this flimsy to begin with, because over time, this just gets more flimsy and then kind of like bows out of the sides of the case. So just something to keep in mind from my past experience. But we can just kind of put this inside here. I like to put this inside the shell first because it's got this little cover for your charging port that is hard to get through when the phone's already in there. So just put this in the case and then put your phone inside. It does seem like it kind of caught, but there we go. All right. And just make sure it's down all the way around, and looks pretty good. So as far as the feel on the hand, feels pretty nice. It's got a soft rubbery type material. As far as the buttons, they are clicky. They are a little bit harder to press than normal. This is super flimsy. I'm not really sure why they made it that flimsy, but again, like I mentioned, over time, it's already starting off flimsy. It's just going to get worse. But it feels pretty good in the hand. Buttons, again, they're not super easy to press, but they are pressable. If we take a look at the case from the side, we do have a raised edge all the way around the screen. It also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk, just a little bit of extra bulk to your phone. We've got our cutouts on the bottom, again, that covered charging port. We've got our power button, and we also do have a camera button on the side. On the back, again, it's got that kind of like a subtle texture plastic on the back, which is hard, and it's got these little kind of rubber grips on the edge here, and we do have a pretty good raised edge around our camera lens as well. So if you happen to put your phone down, it will kind of slide around. It doesn't really touch these because of the camera bump on the back. So if you put this down on something, it might slide around. Let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, again, it's not really a strong hold. It's like slightly less than a regular magnetic hold. So the phone might fall off the MagSafe accessory again. I'm not sure why their magnets are so weak. But let's test out our camera button. So you can easily press that. And as far as the options here, button seems to be working fine with touch. It's not working exactly the way I want it to, but it is kind of working. So again, for me, this is another case I would just stay away from, mainly because of the weak MagSafe magnet on the back and because the inner portion of the shell is so flimsy. It's just, I don't know why they made it this flimsy. It should be a lot more rigid to kind of stay to the phone and not have to worry about this coming off the phone as much as it does. So again, this is definitely another case I would tell you to just stay away from. And then here we have the OTTERBOX Defender Pro. This is their most protective case. It's been 7 times drop tested. And here is the case. This is a 2-piece design again. It's got a soft kind of silicone type material on the back, and it's got a hard plastic inner shell. We also do have like this foam on the inside to help with drops. The one thing I already noticed that I don't like about this case is the outer shell is kind of, there's like an air gap, so when you press on the back it kind of makes a noise. We'll see how bad that is when we put the phone in here. It also does have a MagSafe ring on the inside, and we also do have a camera button, which is nice. So we'll just kind of peel this outer shell off. And see how kind of like floppy and flexible it is. And then for this, we just need to go around and kind of lift up on these little pieces here that are keeping this locked in place. And there we go. So it just comes apart like that. Take your phone, put it inside here, and then put this over the top of your phone, and then just press it down into place, making sure that all the little parts here click. And then take this whole thing and put it on the inside of the case, and then press the case all around it. All right, and there we go. So it does feel really good in the hand. It's very rubbery and grippy. As far as the buttons goes, almost all the buttons are easily pressable except for, okay, just clicking into place. So the buttons are nice and clicky. They're easily pressable, feel nice. You just have to make sure that this plastic or the rubber portion is clicked down into place properly so it goes over those buttons. And if we take a look at it from the side, you can see that it does add a little bit more extra bulk than some of the other cases. We've got that grippy texture on the side, and we also do have a pretty good raised edge on the top and the bottom of the case itself. If we take a look at the bottom, you can see our cutouts and how thick they are over the phone for some extra protection. Our cutout for our charging port. On the other side, same texture for grip, power button, and that camera button. on the back. You can still hear there's a slight air gap, so every time you kind of touch this, it might make that noise. We've got our MagSafe ring, feels nice and grippy on the back too, doesn't show any fingerprints, and we also do have a pretty good raised edge around our camera lenses as well. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and as far as the hold, super weak. I mean, look at how easy I'm taking this magnet off the back. It's not held on there hard. Like, I'm surprised that this case would even hold onto a MagSafe accessory without falling off. So again, just like the whole lineup of the OTTERBOX cases, the MagSafe ring is definitely the weak point. So let's test out our camera button. Camera button easily pressable, seems to work and access the camera perfectly fine. Let's test out our touch. It does have like a slight rubber grip to it, but it seems to be working okay. Yeah, it seems to be working all right. Let's press that in. Yeah, not too bad. Seems to be working pretty good on here. Again, it does have like a rubber grip all the way around it, so when you're sliding your finger, you feel that resistance, but it seems to be working perfectly fine. Now, even though this case is their most protective, it will protect your case, but there are some downsides, like I said before. The MagSafe ring on the back is super weak. So if you're going to be using any sort of MagSafe accessories, don't expect them to hold onto the case very well. But if you don't care about the MagSafe on the back, then this is definitely a pretty good protective case. Everything else seems to be pretty good. It's got a nice raised edge. Buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable. It's just that MagSafe ring on the back and that little air gap that you can hear on the back. So those are the only downsides for this case. And for me, again, I wouldn't recommend this case just because of the couple things that I mentioned. I like to use a MagSafe accessory, so this definitely would not be for me. And there's other cases just like the OTTERBOX case that have much better protection and everything works perfectly on the case as well. So the first UAG case we're going to take a look at is the Essential Armor, and this has been drop tested up to 15 feet. And let's see how much this case weighs. 41.6. So here is the case itself, just a very simple case. It is all flexible. It does have a MagSafe ring on the back here, and it's got like a nice kind of subtle matte texture as well. Seems pretty nice. Put our phone inside the case. So it feels pretty good in the hand. It's not grippy, but it does have like a smooth, not rubber, but a plasticky type feel. There's absolutely no grip. Now, the one thing I do like about the UAG cases are their buttons. They come off the case a pretty good amount, so you can very easily find them with your hand. They're nice and clicky, easily pressable. No problems there. If we take a look at the case from the side, you can see it does have a pretty good raised edge all the way around the phone. Keeps the phone fairly slim as well, and it's semi-translucent. You can see the color of the phone through the case. It does have some pretty good reinforcements in the corners to help with drop protection. We've got our cutouts on the bottom, lanyard holes in the corners. On the other side, we do have our power button, and we have a cutout for our camera button. On the back, again, it's got that nice kind of smooth matte finish, our MagSafe ring, and we do have a pretty good raised edge around our camera lenses, so that's definitely a plus. So let's test out the MagSafe. Got my Qi2 wireless charger here, clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and it's got, I guess, an okay hold. It's on the border of being too weak. Like, you can easily kind of slide your phone in 360, and it should keep your phone on the MagSafe accessory, but it's not super strong. It does have it's not super weak, but it's definitely not the strongest that I've felt. But it does work with the case. Now let's test out our camera button. You can easily get your finger in this little cutout here, press that to access your camera. And as far as the touch goes, touch is working fine because it's a cutout. It's just, you feel like the sharp edges of the corner when you're running your finger across it, which doesn't feel great, but the button does seem to work fine. So not a horrible case. I would like to see a stronger magnetic hold for the MagSafe and maybe like a little more subtle cutout so these edges aren't so sharp. But I do like the feel of the buttons on the side. Again, just a simple kind of case, and I'm not really sure that I would recommend it because there are some better options out there as well. And then here we have the UAG Plyo case. This has been drop tested up to 16 feet. Let's see how much this case weighs. 45.6 grams. So just a simple kind of clear case. It does have a hard plastic backing with the MagSafe ring on the back, surrounded by a firm kind of plastic rubbery type material on the sides. It is actually pretty rigid. There's not much give there. So let's put our phone in the case. Fits the phone really well. Feels good in the hand. There is some grip to this case. Now this case, interesting enough, doesn't have those prominent buttons like some of the other cases do, but the buttons are clicky and they're easily pressable. If we take a look at the case on the side, you can see that it does have a pretty decent raised edge around the front of the phone, and it's got this texture on the side to help with grip. We've got our volume and action button on the side, lanyard holes in the corners, cutouts in the bottom, our power button on the side here with the texturing, and a cutout for our camera button. It does seem kind of deep. We'll test that out in just a second. But you can see the color of your phone on the back, and as far as fingerprints, seems to do a pretty good job of keeping down fingerprints, so that's a plus. And we do have a pretty good raised edge around our camera lenses too. So let's test out our MagSafe ring. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, again, same thing. It's got an okay hold, not the strongest, not the weakest, but it does hold your phone in place, and the phone shouldn't just fall off. It's just not super strong. And it also does seem to have some pretty good reinforcements in the corners as well. So if your phone happens to drop on a corner, your phone should be protected. So a couple things I do like about the case is it does have a little bit of a grip to it, which I like. I like the reinforcements. What I don't like is the small volume and power buttons. I would like to see those big like on the other UAG cases, and the kind of weaker magnetic ring for the MagSafe. I'd like to see that a little bit stronger, but it's an okay, kind of clear case. And then here we have the UAG Pathfinder. This has been drop tested up to 18 feet, and it's supposed to glow in the dark. And here is the case. It does feel pretty light. Let's see how much it weighs. 40.5 grams. Does have a pretty nice little glow magnetic ring on the back. It is made of hard plastic surrounded by a kind of rigid rubbery type material, and it also has this honeycomb plastic on the inside as well. Fits the phone pretty good. Feels good in the hand. It's not grippy, but it's not slippery. It's just kind of got like a smooth plastic type feel. Buttons, nice and clicky, easily pressable. If we take a look at it from the side, you can see it's got a pretty good raised edge around the front of the phone. We also have some reinforcements in the corners. That's pretty cool. Little kind of clear cutout on the side, but it's got these little ridges to help with grip. We've got our lanyard holes in the corners, cutouts on the bottom. On the other side, we've got our power button, this little clear piece here, and a cutout for our camera button. On the back, shows off the color of your phone, feels pretty nice. These little pieces here are kind of like matted, feel pretty nice, and this is kind of matted as well, and it's supposed to glow in the dark. We'll see just a minute. And we do have a pretty good raised edge around our camera lenses as well. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, again, same hold as some of the other UAG cases. Not super strong, but I do think it's adequate enough to keep hold on your MagSafe accessory. So now let's see how much this glows in the dark. So we'll turn off our lights here. And there you go. It looks pretty cool. Kind of charge it up with some UV lighting. And that is pretty nice. It's a lot brighter on camera than it is in real life, but you can still see it really well. I think that looks pretty cool. So if you happen to drop your phone during a concert or something, it might be a little bit easier to kind of find your phone. Now let's test out the camera button on the side here. You can easily press that to access the camera. And as far as the touch, working perfectly fine. It's just that you feel like these sharp edges on the side when you're running your finger over it. You may or may not like that. I'm not a huge fan, but it does seem to be working just fine. So not a bad case. Things I like about it. I love how the back glows. I like how the back is clear to show off the color of your phone, and it keeps down those fingerprints. Not a huge fan of the camera cutout. And it also could be a little bit more grippy instead of that smooth plastic type feel. And then here we have the UAG Metropolis LT case. This has been drop tested up to 18 feet, and it's got like a vegan fox leather on the back. And let's see how much this case weighs. 49.3 grams. So it's got a really cool look and feel on the back. It's got kind of like a subtle type of texture. It's a little bit kind of like a pillow, but it just kind of puffs up a little bit up above the case. It doesn't feel like a pillow when you press on it. We do have like a honeycomb plastic on the inside, and the whole case does flex. There's no rigid parts on this case. Feels pretty good in the hand. It's not grippy and it's not slippery. It's got that smooth plastic type feel, but if you notice on this case, the buttons are more prominent than the other two. They come off a lot better, so you can very easily press them. They're also nice and clicky, which I love. If we look at the case from the side, we have the same great raised edge all the way around the front of our phone. It doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone either. Got our cutouts and our lanyard holes in the corners. Power button, same cutout for the camera button on the side there. And on the back, again, it's got that kind of puffed up kind of texturing. Kind of feels like a fox leather too. And it's also got a raised edge around the rear cameras. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, again, it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst either. It does seem to have a pretty decent hold on the back of the case, so your phone shouldn't just fall off, but again, it's definitely not the strongest hold I've felt. I do kind of like the look of the back. Looks pretty cool. Again, same camera button cutout, easily access the camera. And as far as the touch goes, you're pressing in and down in this little crevice here, but you feel the sharp edges of the case when you slide your finger up. They should have made that a little more subtle, but it works perfectly fine. So it's a cool looking case. I like the way that the buttons feel. It could be a little bit more grippy, and the MagSafe magnet on the back could be a little stronger, but I do like the little texturing on the back too. And then here we have the UAG Civilian case. This has been drop tested up to 20 feet. Let's see how much this case weighs. 49.6 grams. So this case is pretty cool. It's got a hard plastic backing that does have a slight kind of plastic texture surrounded by a rubbery type of material. I love the way that the color looks, kind of goes along with the phone. Fits the phone really well. Feels good in the hand. Again, it's not grippy. It's not slippery. It's got kind of like a smooth rubbery type feel. As far as the buttons, super easy to press, nice and clicky. Absolutely love that. If we look at the case from the side, you can see it's got the same raised edge around the front of the phone. And here we have that rubbery type material on the sides. Cutouts on the bottom along with the lanyard holes. Cutout for the camera button, power button, and on the back it's got that hard, subtle textured plastic, which will definitely protect the back of your phone. And we do have a pretty good raised edge around our camera lenses as well. Let's test out the MagSafe. Pretty good hold on the back, charges your phone immediately. And again, the hold seems to be pretty consistent across all of the UAG cases. I think it's good enough to hold the phone on a MagSafe accessory, but it's definitely not the strongest that I've felt. It's not a bad looking and feeling case. I just kind of wish it was a little bit more rubbery. As far as the hard textured plastic on the back, if you put this down on something that's hard and doesn't have a lot of give, like maybe some, like the edge of a chair that is made of wood, it will most likely slide off because this is it's so rigid and so hard. But that's really the only thing I would say. Everything else seems to be pretty nice on the case. Again, same cutout. You're kind of feeling those sharper edges when you slide your finger, and it should work perfectly fine with the camera as well, which it does because you're actually touching the button. But definitely not a bad case. And then here we have the UAG Plasma XTE case. This has been drop tested up to 20 feet, and it's also got a kickstand on the back as well. And let's see how much this case weighs. 57.2 grams. This case is a little bit more squared off than some of the other cases, but again, we do have that MagSafe / kickstand on the back. That does seem to be pretty nice. And it has a hard plastic backing surrounded by a softer rubbery type material. You can see it's got those reinforcements in the corners, and how squared off it now makes your phone. Feels pretty good in the hand. It's not slippery, but it's got like a subtle type of rubbery texture, but it's not grippy. As far as the buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable. If we take a look at it from the side, again, we have a pretty decent raised edge around the front of the phone, and it's also adds a little bit more extra bulk to the phone too. We've got our cutouts on the bottom. See the lanyard holes in the corner. Same cutout for the camera, our power button. And on the back, again, you can see the color of your phone. It's got that metal kickstand on the back. Seems pretty nice. The hinge is pretty good too. You don't have to worry about your phone just kind of flopping around, which is nice. So you can use this in a portrait and kind of lay it down a little bit more. And you can also use this in a landscape mode as well. You just don't have any adjustment up and down. And then it folds flat right back into the back of the case. We also do have a pretty good raised edge around our camera lenses as well. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And again, I think this is probably a much weaker hold than some of the other UAG cases. And because of that hinge, it doesn't have enough kind of hold to keep the phone from coming off the MagSafe accessory. It's still held on. It's still held on to the ring, but it can come, apart from the back of the case because of that hinge. So the weak point on here is definitely the MagSafe ring. So that's something to keep in mind. And again, the little cutout for the camera button, it seems kind of deep, so you got to press your finger in there a little bit more. But again, the button does seem to be working just fine because you're actually touching the button itself. So not a huge fan of it making the phone look super square, but it does offer some better drop protection. Not really feeling the camera the camera cutout and the weak MagSafe ring on the back, but I do like the inclusion of the kickstand. So there are definitely some trade-offs with this case. And then here we have the UAG Monarch Pro case. This case has been drop tested up to 20 feet, and it's also got some vegan fox leather inlays. Let's see how much this case weighs. 60.1 grams. It does have a hard backing surrounded by a softer rubbery type material. This is also going to make your phone a lot more squared off as well. And we do have a MagSafe ring on the back, kind of like a plastic honeycomb on the inside. Put our phone inside the case. Feels pretty good in the hand. It does have a subtle texture to it. It's not really grippy, but the texture helps give it a little bit of grip. You can see the reinforcements in the corners. As far as the buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable. We do have a pretty good raised edge around the front of the phone. You can also see how It adds more bulk to your phone as well. We've got this honeycomb pattern on the side to help with grip. Cutouts on the bottom. Power button and honeycomb texture on the other side with the cutout for the camera button on the back. It's got that plastic for the MagSafe ring, and it's got that kind of like the faux leather on the inlay. I think it looks pretty cool. And I got the orange to go along with the color of my phone, but it does come in a lot of other different colors. And we do have a slight raised edge around our camera lenses. So let's test out the MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and again, it's about the same hold. It's adequate enough to hold on the MagSafe accessory, but it's not the best by far, and it's also not the worst. So just something to keep in mind. But this case is definitely one of the more bulkier cases, but you are getting the 25-foot drop protection. I think it looks pretty cool. A lot of reinforcements in the corners to help with drops. Buttons are nice and clicky. Feels pretty good in the hand. So not a lot of bad things to say about this case. And then here we have the UAG Trooper. Now this one's been drop tested up to 30 feet. I'm interested to see what this case actually looks like. So this case is definitely more beefy than some of the other cases. And for the 30-foot drop test, I can see why. Let's see how much this case weighs. 66.8 grams. This case definitely feels more substantial and thick. It seems like it should be a two-piece design case, but it doesn't seem to come apart. The back is noticeably thicker. It's also made of hard plastic, as well as the inner portion. It's got kind of like a mixture of hard plastic and a softer rubbery type of material. So we'll put our phone inside the case here. It just kind of presses into place. Wow. That went in there really solid. I don't think your phone's coming out of here. Feels pretty good in the hand. It does have a little bit of a slight grippy texture to it. Buttons are a little bit harder to press in than normal. They do work, but again, you're going to have to push on them a little bit harder than normal. If we look at it from the side, it's got a pretty good raised edge all the way around the front of the phone. It also does add a little bit of extra bulk to the phone too. Got that clear piece on the side, reinforcements in the corners. Our cutouts on the bottom with the covered charging port here, which is pretty nice. Keep all the dust and dirt out. We've got the cutout for the camera button and our power button on the side here and on the back. Shows off the color of your phone. I think it looks pretty cool. As far as fingerprints, does seem to keep down those fingerprints too, which is nice. MagSafe ring on the back, and we also do have a pretty good raised edge around our camera lenses. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and about the same hold as all the other UAG cases. Not the best, but it's not the worst. I definitely do think it should keep your phone on the MagSafe accessory. And the one thing I just noticed about this is it's got like, it locks into place when you turn it. It doesn't just free spin like some of the other cases. This has got like a rubbery type material or something that keeps this from like free spinning on the MagSafe accessory. So you can see it kind of breaks, and it's got these locks until you get to that. Not sure what that's about. But if you're thinking about like rotating this easily, it's got like a grip on it, so it doesn't rotate very easily. So that might be something you want to keep in mind. But this case is definitely beefy. And if you're looking to protect your phone, this is probably the best UAG case to do that with. Again, not a lot of bad things to say about this case. It's just kind of weird how it's got that kind of like that stop when you try to rotate the case on the MagSafe accessory. But this case does seem pretty protective. Let's test out our camera button here. So you do have to press in more than the other cases. It does seem to be a little bit deeper down inside that case. I mean, look at how deep that is in there. And then if you want to use the touch controls, I mean, you really got to press your finger in here. It's being stopped by the edges here, which are a lot harder. I mean, it kind of still does work, but it doesn't feel very good because it's so deep. Yeah, definitely not the best. So if you like to use the camera cutout, this case might not be for you. But if you're looking for some of the best protection that UAG has to offer, I would recommend this case. The first XBASE case we're going to take a look at is their liquid silicone case, and this has been drop tested up to 12 feet. Let's see how much this case weighs. 47.9 grams. Looks like a really nice case. It does have a fairly firm backings surrounded by all silicone. It's got MagSafe built in, and we also do have like a kind of like a suede material on the inside to help keep your phone free from scratches, and that goes pretty much all the way around inside the case. So we'll put our phone inside here. Fits the phone really well. Feels good in the hand. It's not really grippy. It's got like a smooth silicone type feel. As far as the buttons on the side, very easily pressable. Nice and clicky. If we look at the case from the side, you can see how much of a raised edge we get around the front of the screen. It also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to your phone. We've got our buttons on the side here, cutouts on the bottom, power button, and a cutout for the camera button. On the back here, it's got that whole back is made of silicone, and it's got a nice soft touch to it, and it doesn't show any fingerprints, anything like that. And we also do have a slight raised edge around our camera lenses. Then to test out the MagSafe on the back, we've got the PowerPeak Qi 2 wireless charger here. You will need your own power source. This only comes with the little puck. Peel off the plastic tab here. It also does use USB Type-C for power. And this charger also has kind of like a soft touch feel on the back here to help keep your phone from getting all scratched up. Clips right onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, it's got a pretty good hold on the back of the case. So you don't have to worry about the phone just falling off. And if you happen to have this sitting on your nightstand, you can just kind of wave your phone over it. It clips right onto the back. And because this is Qi 2, it can charge up to 18 watts. So now let's try out our camera button so you can very easily access your camera. And you can also touch your camera button very easily. The only thing with this case is that you can see is this little piece of silicone here is kind of flimsy. That's the only real downside to this case, is just that little piece there. I would have really liked to have seen like a plastic piece or something underneath the silicone to make it a little bit more rigid, but that's the only real downside for this case. And I've got a few more colors for the liquid silicone. We've got a kind of like a forest green here. Looks kind of cool. We also have a black, because the iPhone does not come in black this year. We've got a blue, which it does come in blue. That should go well with the blue iPhone. And then we also have pink, which is pretty subtle. It's not like a in-your-face neon pink. It's just a very subtle pink. It looks pretty nice too. And then here we have the XBASE Duo Hybrid case. This has been drop tested up to 12 feet. So this case has a really nice look to it. It's got a metal ring around your camera, a nice MagSafe ring in the back with a transparent kind of matte feel as well. We'll see how much this case weighs. 48.7 grams. This also does come in a couple different colors as well. It's got a firm hard back surrounded by a kind of like a softer rubbery type material, along with metal anodized buttons to make it look and feel a little more premium in the hand. Fits the phone really well. Feels good in the hand. Buttons nice and clicky, easily pressable. They come off the case just enough so you can easily find them with your fingers. If we look at it from the side, you can see how much of a raised edge we get around the front of the phone. It's also pretty slim as well. You can see those anodized metal buttons on the side, cutouts on the bottom. power button, and a cutout for your camera on the side here. And on the back, again, it's got the nice matte transparent back, so it doesn't show any fingerprints. We do have the MagSafe ring here, and we have a metal ring around our cameras for protection there too. So again, we'll try out that MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, it seems to have a pretty good strong hold on the back as well. Yeah, pretty nice. So let's test out our camera. So you can access that and touch the button with no issues, because the little cutout is fairly shallow, which I particularly like. So not a bad looking case, got a nice matte back with a pretty strong magnetic hold on the back, along with metal anodized buttons and a metal camera ring. And then here we have the XBASE Duo Hybrid with a metal kickstand. This has been drop tested up to 12 feet. I really do like the cases that have the kickstand built into the camera ring. Let's see how much this case weighs. 73.3 grams, and that's due to the metal camera ring on the back. Again, it has the same matte transparent backing with the MagSafe, and it's surrounded by like a kind of like a rubbery type material. So put our phone inside the case here. Fits the phone really well, feels good in the hand. It has a slight bit of grip to it. The buttons on the side are very easily pressable, nice and clicky, and they come off the case just enough so you can very easily find them without looking at your phone. If we look at the case from the side, you can see we have more of a raised edge around the top of this case than we do the bottom. And you can also see that the camera ring here does add a little bit of extra bulk to the case, but you are getting that kickstand. Looks pretty nice. Separated buttons on the side, cutouts on the bottom, power button on the side, and the shallow cutout for your camera button. On the back, you have that nice transparency so you can see the color of your phone. Feels really nice. And we've got that really thick camera ring around your lenses, so I don't think anything's gonna ever touch those lenses. And you can very easily open it up from the side here. Just simply opens up like that. Very solid, very substantial kickstand. It doesn't just flop around, so it's got a nice hinge on it. And you can stand your phone up in a kind of like a laying down portrait mode, or you can also put it in a landscape mode, and you have quite a few different levels of adjustment. I mean, it pretty much almost lays down. So no matter where you're sitting at any angle, this will be able to accommodate that, and then it just kind of clips right back into place. So let's test out our MagSafe. Put this down, run your phone over it, it starts to charge immediately, and as far as the hold, seems to have a strong enough hold to hold your phone to the MagSafe. This is a pretty nice case. I really do like the metal kickstand on the back, and as you can see, it covers most of your camera on the side here too, so you don't have to worry about that getting all scratched up, and only has open like what it needs on the side. So let's test out our camera button here. So you can see it's very shallow to touch, so it seems to work pretty well. You don't have to worry about touching your camera button here. It seems to be working well. Pretty nice case. I do like the way that the buttons are. The metal kickstand on the back and the transparent back just makes the case look really nice. And then here we have an XBASE case from their Sparkleline series. This case has been drop tested up to 13 feet. See how much this case weighs. 55.1 grams. Looks really sparkly. It's got a nice firm hard backing surrounded by a firmer rubbery type material. Put our phone in the case here. Fits the phone really well. Feels good in the hand. It's got some nice grip to it. Buttons on the side. Nice and clicky. Easily pressable. If we look at the side of the case, you can see that it's got a pretty even raised edge all the way around the phone. It also keeps the phone fairly slim. We've got our cutouts on the bottom, power button, and a cutout button for the camera button. And on the back shows off the really sparkliness, is that a word, of this case. We got the MagSafe built in here, and it also has a slight raised edge to protect our camera lenses. So now let's test out our MagSafe. Clips right onto the phone, pretty strong. Charges your phone immediately, and you don't have to worry about your phone just kind of falling off your MagSafe accessory. Seems to be on there pretty good. When you heard it clip, it's on there pretty decently. So it's got a nice strong magnetic hold. Let's test out our camera button. And because the cutout is pretty shallow, it seems to work pretty good with the camera button as well. Yeah, no problems there. And this also does come in a couple other different colors, which I've got here. This one's kind of like starry, and this one's more like a rainbow. I think that looks pretty cool. Put our phone inside one of these other cases. And if you really want your phone to stand out, these cases are definitely going to do that. Looks real sparkly. And then for the rainbow, oh, this one's got a lot of grip. The rainbow one is super grippy, and it's also a lot thicker around the edges too, so this would probably be better for some better drop protection. Kind of see the rainbow a little bit. It kind of shimmers. That's pretty cool. You can see it kind of all the way around the case and not just on the back. That's interesting. And then here we have their ProTech series case. This has been drop tested up to 15 feet. Got this one in a nice blue color. See how much this case weighs. 56.2 grams. This case does have a firm hard backing with MagSafe built in, and it's also a two-piece design. It's got a plastic shell on the back and then a more flexible type of rubbery insert on the inside, and that'll help give you better drop protection. So we'll put our phone inside the case here. Fits the phone really well, feels good in the hand. It does have some texturing on the side to help give it a little grip. The buttons also nice and clicky, very easily pressable. If we look at the case from the side, you can see how much of a raised edge we get around the phone, and it also keeps your phone pretty slim. We've got some reinforcements in the corners to help with drops. You can see that texturing on the side, cutouts on the bottom. We've got our power button and our cutout for our camera button on the back. It's got like a subtle kind of slight texturing, keeps down fingerprints, and we also do have a pretty good raised edge around our camera lenses. Let's test out the MagSafe. Clips right onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and as far as the hold, it's got a pretty good hold on the back too. You don't have to worry about your phone just falling off your MagSafe accessory. Definitely a plus. Let's test out our camera button. And this is also a pretty shallow cutout, so it's very easy to touch your camera button. And that seems to be working pretty good as well. Very nice. I think the ProTech series case is one of my more favorite XBASE cases because it's not too bulky, but it gives you some pretty good protection, and the MagSafe ring in the back is pretty strong too. You can also see that it covers more of the camera as well here and leaves less exposed. I do like the more of a raised edge as well. And I also have this ProTech series case in a black too. See how that looks on the phone. Black and orange, I think that's a winner. I like the orange and black better than orange and blue. And here we have the XBASE Boulder case. This is one of their more protective cases, better for drop protection. It's been drop tested up to 18 feet. So let's see how much this case weighs. 74.9. This case is a two-piece design. It's got a nice little kind of like a foam pad on the inside to help with drop protection. And like I mentioned, it's a two-piece design. It's got a soft rubbery outer portion surrounded by a firmer rubber, a harder plastic. So it kind of cocoons your phone inside the case. You just pull out this inner portion here. Put this over the top of your phone like that. And then you're going to take this whole thing and put it back in the inside. And like I said, it kind of cocoons your phone inside the case, so you don't have to worry about the phone just popping out, even if you happen to drop or throw your phone in a fit of rage. And there we go. So it does feel great in the hand. It's nice and grippy. It's got like a rubbery type feel to it. The buttons on the side are nice and clicky, easily pressable, but the only thing is they don't come off the case very much. So it might be a little bit more difficult to find if you're not looking at the phone. But we do have a big cutout for our camera button on the side here. You can also see that it adds a little bit of extra bulk to the phone, and we've got a slight raised edge around the front of the phone as well. Got that texturing on the side. Here you can see those buttons a little better. Cutouts on the bottom, along with a covered charging port, which is nice. It'll keep it nice and dust free. And on the other side, our power button, cut out for the camera button. We got a MagSafe ring on the back, and we also do have a slight raised edge around our cameras for protection there too. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips right onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and as far as the hold, it's got an okay hold on the back. It's strong enough to hold your phone so you don't have to worry about the phone just falling off. It's not the strongest hold, but I think it's adequate enough. So that is a pretty nice protective case so far. Let's test out our camera button. Now, the only thing with this is you can see how deep this cutout is and how much you have to kind of put your finger over to get access to the camera button. But once you do, because it is so shallow, there's no issues touching the camera button here. It seems to work really well. It's just getting it across the little bump here is a little bit more difficult. So you see I got to put my hand over. You can't just touch it normally. You kind of got to get it around. That's the only thing about this case. But this is their most protective case, and I think it's my favorite protective case by XBASE as well. I also have a couple other colors as well here. I've got a green, a black, and a black that actually comes with a belt clip in case that's what you're looking for. They also have that. So here is that belt clip. You can see that the phone just kind of clips in. It also does have kind of like a felt material on the inside here to help keep your phone scratch free. And the back here also rotates 360 degrees. And if you're wondering, this belt clip only works one way. You have to put your phone with the screen face in, because if you try it the other way, the camera bump gets in the way and it won't close properly on the belt clip. But you can see that it works pretty much with all the ProTech cases. And here was the black. And again, we also do have the green. This is kind of like a forest green, mint green, whatever you want to call it. And then finally we come to the XBASE waterproof case. Now, this case is waterproof. It's also snowproof, drop-proof, and dust-proof. And I'm going to be doing a water test to see if any water will get into this case for about 30 minutes or so. So here is the case. Let's see how much it weighs. 77.2 grams. We also do have the lanyard on the inside as well. It's got a film screen protector too to protect your screen, and the camera lenses are all protected on the back. It's got MagSafe built in, and we also do have a touch capacitive camera button on the side. So the way that you get this apart is on the bottom. It's got these little kind of holes that you can kind of get your finger in, and then you just kind of pull these apart. Comes with a little lanyard here. Try to make sure that you don't touch anything on the inside, because then you're going to have to clean it because there's probably going to be fingerprints all over the place. We also have a little stopper here that allows you to use the microphone or make your case totally waterproofed when you're not using the mic. And the charging port and speaker holes are also waterproofed as well. Right there. See this little piece covers them both. And on the inside, the speakers do have a plastic over them so no water gets in. I'm also going to be testing out what your voice sounds like and what sound sounds like coming from your phone when it's in the waterproof case too. So first we need to make sure that we thoroughly clean off our screen, preferably with an alcohol wipe if you have one, and then dry it off, or just use this wipe without the alcohol wipe. Then once that's done, take the top part of your case, again making sure to not touch the inside of that case. Just press this over the top of your phone, just like that, and then press your phone into place, making sure that the camera lenses are also wiped off because you don't want anything on them either. Then take the back part of your case, and we're going to put this over the top and just kind of go around the edges and press the two pieces of the case together. They all click into place. And you want to make sure that they are together because you don't want any water seeping in. And there we go. First impressions of the case, feels really nice in the hand. You can peel off your protectors on the front and the back here as well. So the case looks really nice. It is definitely going to keep your phone cocooned inside. The buttons on the side are nice and grippy, very easily pressable, and they protrude off the case enough to where you can very easily find them without actually looking at the case. If we look at the case from the side, you can see it does add some extra bulk, but not a ton, just enough to keep your phone protected. And we also do have a pretty good raised edge around the front of the phone as well. We got some lanyard holes on the bottom. Again, we have the covered charging port and speakers, and this little piece here. Again, if you want to talk to somebody, you can flip it over to that side, and it kind of opens up this hole so you can talk a little better, and then you push it over to the other side to totally waterproof the case. On the other side, we've got our power button and our touch capacitive camera button. On the back, it's nice and clear to show off the color of your phone. We've got that MagSafe ring, and your cameras are totally covered. You can see it's got that nice raised edge, and all your lenses and everything are totally covered. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately, and it's got an okay hold on the back. Not the strongest, but it should hold your MagSafe accessory in place on the phone. So let's test out the sound really quick and the touch. So you can see it does have a film screen protector on the front. Touch working fine, no issues with the camera. Let's take a look at that first. Camera looks nice and clear. Don't see any issues there. So you can use your Face ID and your selfie camera without issue. Touch working fine. You can see the case is crystal clear as well, or rather the screen. And since this is a life-proof case, the majority of the time I'm sure you're going to be wearing some sunglasses. So let's see what it looks like as if you're looking at it through polarized sunglasses. And you can see that it looks pretty good. There's only a slight rainbow effect. You can see it there, but not bad at all. Depending on how you twist and turn it, the rainbow can get worse, but if you're looking at it pretty much dead on, it's only going to be very slight. So let's test out our sound now. See what it sounds like when it's totally waterproofed.
Seamlessly trade stocks, options, crypto, and futures in one place.
So that's up all the way.
I remember after that first pump episode of our coming back, we were in Miami. I went back home. I woke my wife up and I said,
it is kind of
we
muffled.
gotta take all of our money.
So the sound is definitely muffled when it's totally waterproofed. So let's open up this little piece here as if we were going to use it to talk to somebody, and we'll see what the sound sounds like.
Dump it into the
Way louder.
In my life, I said that. You know what? We should have. So rich. It would have been rough, but then I would have multiple times of saying "I told you so." She would also have "I told you so." Yeah. Bitcoin really is the best thing for a relationship.
So you can see that this little plug makes a huge difference when you're trying to listen to things. When it's totally waterproofed, it muffles the sound significantly, but just opening this up makes it sound so much louder. So now let's test out our voice recording as if you were talking to somebody on the phone. So this is open, so it should be able to hear my voice pretty good. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Just testing how this is going to sound. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Just testing how this is going to sound. Sounds pretty loud and clear. I don't think anybody's going to have any issues hearing you, but let's plug it up and make it totally waterproofed and see if that makes a difference. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is with the life-proof case or the waterproof case totally waterproofed. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is with the life-proof case or the waterproof case totally waterproofed. So you can see you can still hear your voice, but it's a lot more muffled. So I mean, you should be able to use it either way, but if you want to talk to somebody, you should really probably open up this little plug here. Now let's test out the camera button on the side so you can easily access your camera. We'll see how the touch works. Touch seems to be working pretty good. It's got all those little touch capacitive copper pins on there. So yeah, that seems to work out pretty good as well. And as far as fingerprints on the screen, it does also seem to do a pretty decent job of keeping down the fingerprints. We just have some slight smudges on the screen, and you can wipe those away with minimal effort. So everything's looking great for this case so far. Now let's move on to the waterproof test. All right, so we're going to submerge this phone in this vase of water for about 30 minutes. We'll come back after 30 minutes, take it out, and we'll take apart the case to see if any water has gotten into the case itself. You can see that it is 224, and I'm going to start a timer just in case as well. So we'll start a stopwatch. And we'll start it in just a second so you can see everything is waterproofed. I've plugged everything up and we'll start it now. All right, so it's been 30 minutes. Let's pull this out, take a look. So you can see it's 2:57 now, and there's the timer, 33 minutes, 20 seconds. So we need to thoroughly dry this off because I don't want it to look like any water got in when it really didn't. So I'll dry this off really good. Make sure we get all the water out of the little crevices. Back here. It does wipe up pretty easily. And the water just kind of comes right off. I mean, I didn't really wipe that much off, and it looks, you know, pretty clean. We have a little bit of water underneath the camera ridge here. All right, and I think that should be good. If there's going to be any water, it's going to be down in these little crevices here. But from what I can tell, I don't see any water on the inside. It's all on the outside. It looks like I'm not really... Yeah, it's all on the outside. No water on the inside here. Let's take a closer look. So it doesn't look like the water got in anywhere there. And on the screen, it's totally clean. So now let's take the case apart. We'll take a closer look. And the phone looks dry to me. Let's push it out. And we'll take a closer look at the phone here. See if there's any water. Don't see any water on the screen. Looks pretty clean. No water on the edge. Looks pretty good. Nice and dry. Beautiful. So I'm pretty pleased with the results of the waterproof case. Now, it's not definitive. I can't go into the ocean or, into a pool and test out the case. So I did what I could, and it seemed like it did keep the water outside of the case. So if you need a case that's going to protect your phone from drops, scratches, water, snow, dust, and dirt, I would definitely recommend the XBASE waterproof case. Everything on the case seems to work well. The camera button works perfectly fine. MagSafe on the back works good. It doesn't make your phone super bulky, and you can even still use your phone while it's in its waterproof mode. And then here we have the official TechWoven case by Apple. I got the green case because it specifically reminded me of Halo along with the cosmic orange iPhone. Let's see how much this weighs. 34.5 grams, not too heavy. It's got a really nice kind of like a fabric material on it, so it won't show any fingerprints and it'll keep down your scratches. And it seems to be surrounded by kind of like the same material on the sides. It's kind of like a scratchy fabric, and it continues on the inside of the case as well. We also do have MagSafe along with some anodized aluminum buttons, which looks pretty cool. We'll put our phone inside the case. Fits the phone pretty good. So that was pretty cool. So it does feel pretty good in the hand. It's not grippy, and it might be a little bit kind of slippery on the back, not in the sense that it's like oily slippery, but because of the way that it's woven, it might slide on your finger a little bit easier. And there is a slight texturing on the side, but it's not enough to give the phone some grip. I would like to see some grip on the phone. But as far as the buttons goes, very easily pressable, nice and clicky. If we look at the case from the side, you can see that it does have a slight raised edge around the front of the screen. It also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to your phone. We've got those green anodized buttons on the side, some lanyard holes in the corner, cutouts for your speaker and mic and your charging port. On the other side, we have the metal power button as well, and a camera button, not a cutout. And on the back, again, it's got that cool woven texture. And we also do have a very slight raised edge for some camera protection there too. I definitely think that the cosmic orange goes really good with the green. Again, it just kind of reminds me of that Halo type theme. But it does also have the MagSafe built in, so let's test that out. Clips onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, it's got a pretty good hold on the back of the phone. Your phone isn't just going to fall off your MagSafe accessory. It slides on the MagSafe pretty easily. And again, it's got a nice, decent hold on the back. So that's definitely a plus. Now let's test out our camera button. So it's not very easy to find because it's pretty flush with the case, but when you double press it, it opens up your camera. And as far as the touch goes, that seems to work really well. It's nice and smooth, reacts very well to touch, and that's probably one of the best camera buttons on a case that I've tested so far. So definitely another plus for that. So it does seem like a pretty nice case. I do like the fact that you can kind of still see the color of your phone on the edge here. There's just a very slight edge of color, which looks pretty cool. I'm assuming they did that for screen protector compatibility, but nonetheless, I do think it looks really cool just to see that slight color all the way around the front of the case, because you don't typically see that with any other cases. So I don't think this is a bad case. Again, the only thing is I would like to see it have a little bit more grip. It's on the verge of being a little bit slippery. I would like a little more grip, but everything else is really nice about this case. I do like the fact that it's got the fabric on the back, keeps down fingerprints, or it doesn't show any fingerprints whatsoever, keeps down your scratches. I like the anodized buttons, helps make it feel a little bit more premium. Camera button works the best that I've tested so far, and it's got a nice strong MagSafe hold on the back. And then we have the official Apple clear case. So here is the case. Let's see how much it weighs. Feels pretty light. 34.4 grams. So as you can see, it's got the kind of like that frosted piece on the inside of the case, but it's still a clear, hard plastic gloss on the back, and it's surrounded by a kind of like a firm rubbery type material. So we'll put our phone inside the case here, and I'm expecting to see that MagSafe ring, which we did. Pretty nice. This case also does show kind of like the slight outline of the front color of your phone, which looks pretty cool. The case doesn't really feel grippy. It might be on the verge of too slippery in your hand. There's absolutely no grip on this case, which is kind of a downfall. As far as the buttons are nice and clicky, easily pressable. You saw it kind of just slipped out of my hand here. The back feels, you know, kind of slick too, as well as the side. So that's probably not going to be a good case for people who are worried about dropping their phone. If you look on the side, you can see that there is a slight raised edge around the front of the phone, but there is nothing on the bottom. Not sure why they didn't just continue the case on the bottom, but that's what they did. So it also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone either. We've got our separated volume buttons and our action button on the side, a hole cut out on the bottom, which I don't really care for. On the other side, we have a power button and the camera button, no cutout. On the back, again, it's got kind of like that piece where the ceramic shield is on the back of your phone. It also does have MagSafe built in, which we'll test out in just a minute. And again, we have only a slight raised edge for some camera protection there. So let's test out our MagSafe. Clicks onto the back, charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, again, it's got a pretty good hold on the back as well. Rotates very easily. And again, you don't have to worry about your phone just falling off your MagSafe. It's accessory, it's on there pretty good. So that's definitely nice. So, I mean, this case could have been really nice. But as far as the feel in the hand, it feels too slick to me. But let's test out our camera button again. Again, it's flush with the case, so it's kind of hard to find if you're not looking. And we'll test out our touch here. Again, touch seems to be working pretty much flawlessly. Huge fan of that. So it is a nice clear case. It's got a nice strong MagSafe on the back. Camera button works really well. The only thing I don't like about this case is how slick it feels in the hand, and it could have a better raised edge for some camera protection there too. If I had to choose to buy this again, I would just tell everybody to skip this and get a different clear case, unfortunately. And then here we have a premium leather case made by Andar. This case was actually sent to me by the YouTuber Technically T. And from what I can tell, the case looks really nice. It also does come in quite a few different colors. I've got like the purple one here. Let's see how much this case weighs. 38.8 grams. This is made of a full grain leather. It's also got metal buttons on the side. It's got a camera button, a microfiber lining to help keep your phone scratch free. You can see the name there, Technically T. So we'll put our phone inside the case here. Fits the phone pretty good. Feels nice in the hand. It doesn't have any grip to it. It just feels like a kind of like a smooth leather. The buttons feel very nice. They protrude off the case so you can very easily find them. And again, they are made of metal. They work really well. If we take a look at the case from the side, you can see how much of a raised edge we get around the front of our phone. It also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone either, which is nice. Got our metal buttons on the side. Got our cutouts on the bottom here. Power button on the other side, along with that camera button, which we will test out in just a minute. On the back, you can see that nice leather. Keeps down the fingerprints. It's got a nice leather smell to it. And we also do have a slight raised edge around our cameras for some protection there too. So let's test out our MagSafe. I've got my Qi 2 wireless charger here. Clips onto the back. Charges your phone immediately. And as far as the hold, it's got a pretty good hold on the back of the case. So whether you're going to be using this in your car or in your home, you shouldn't have to worry about your phone just falling off your MagSafe accessory. It also does pretty freely rotate on your MagSafe, so if you need to rotate it into a landscape mode, you should be able to easily do that too, but it doesn't just free spin, you know, without you wanting it to. So that is pretty nice. So now let's test out the camera button on the side. The button is pretty flush with the case here. Just kind of press that in a couple times to access your camera, and we'll test out the touch. And touch seems to be working good so far. Let's access the menu. That does seem to be working. I will tell you with this button, you will have to kind of press in a little bit harder than normal to access your menu, but once you do, the touch seems to be working just fine. Yeah. So it seems like a really nice leather option if that's what you're looking for. Like I mentioned before, if you don't want the purple, it comes in quite a few different colors. I really do love these metal buttons on the side. Makes the case feel even more premium than it already feels. And I like how much it comes off of the case. Makes it very easy to find the buttons, especially if it's going to be in your pocket where you're not actually looking at the phone and you need to feel for those buttons. It makes it very easy. And this also does come with a lifetime warranty as well. The next case we have here is made by AOHI. This is their Magarmor Pro. And this case is pretty cool because it actually comes with a little container of the polymer that the case actually uses to keep your phone safe if you happen to drop it. So here we have that little polymer. I'll show you in just a minute. Here we have the case. Let's see how much this case weighs. 48 grams. So this case does have MagSafe built in. It also has a nice matte kind of transparent back so you can see the color of your phone. It also has a metal camera ring, metal buttons on the side. And if we take a look at the inside here, you can see that yellow polymer all the way around the case. So let me show you that really quick. So you kind of get to feel what it's actually like. It's kind of like, not Play-Doh, but kind of like silly putty. It took me a second to kind of think of that. But this polymer is called P4U, and it's a non-Newtonian fluid material, which is soft and elastic under normal conditions. But once it's hit or squeezed violently, the molecules inside will immediately lock and tighten to harden to absorb the external force, forming a protective layer. So when the external force disappears, the material will return to its original relaxed and soft state. And I'll show you what I mean. So if we slowly stretch this out, you can see it's kind of like gum. But if I very quickly snap it apart, it just kind of turns hard and it snaps apart just like that. And then it just kind of relaxes into like a little, kind of like a gel state. And AOHI actually took this polymer, coated an egg with it, and then dropped it, and then took the egg out to show that it actually wasn't cracked. So this polymer inside the case is actually the same thing as this, but it's just in a more solid form. And I'll show you what this looks like at the end of the video. I'm going to put this in just like this, kind of sticking up, and we'll see what it looks like towards the end of the video. All right, so we'll put our phone inside the case here. Kind of clips into place. The case does not feel grippy in the hand. It feels more like kind of like smooth plastic. As far as the buttons, the volume buttons and the power or the action button are clicky and easily pressable, but the power button, it doesn't seem like it's really clicky at all. It is working, but it's really hard to tell that you're actually pressing the button in. I mean, look at how little I'm pressing the button, and there's no click whatsoever. So I'm not sure what's going on with the power button, but if we take a look at the case from the side, you can see how much of a raised edge we get on the front of the phone. It also doesn't add a lot of extra bulk to the phone either. Here on the side, we've got our volume and action buttons. It's kind of pressing in on the power button just almost accidentally. On the bottom, we've got our cutouts. On the other side, we've got our power button and a cutout for our camera button and the lanyard hole. On the back, it's got the nice matte finish that is transparent, so you can see the color of your phone. It does keep down fingerprints. We've got our MagSafe ring on the back here, and it's got a metal camera ring that just comes up over the lenses. So let's test out our MagSafe. I've got my Qi2 wireless charger here, clips onto the back, charges your phone, and as far as the hold, it's got a pretty strong hold on the back, so that's definitely a plus. You don't have to worry about your case falling off your MagSafe accessory, and it freely spins too, pretty nice. So that's definitely a plus. So let's test out our camera button here. So if you're holding it just like this, you easily know where the camera button is. You just kind of have to press your finger in there a little bit. You can easily access the camera. Let's test out our touch. So touch is working fine. And access the menu. And no issues there. Yeah, so the cutout seems to be working just fine. And let's take a look at our Newtonian fluid real quick. So as you saw, it was standing up, and over time, it just kind of evens out. The longer you let it sit, the more even it gets. It turns into kind of like water. I mean, it'll totally settle flat in here if you let it sit long enough. That's pretty cool. This case has also been drop tested up to 16 feet, and the magnets that it has in the back for the MagSafe ring are N52, and that's why they're pretty strong. So the only downside for this case is this issue with the power button. I mean, you barely even touch the side here, and it turns on Siri. Like, I wasn't even really touching the power button, so that's a little bit of cause for concern. The button should be nice and clicky, easily pressable. Let's see what happens when I do that again. So I'm not even pressing in on the power button. I'm testing the volume buttons. See if it does the camera. And it doesn't do it this time. So I mean, you barely touch in on this power button. It's super touchy. I don't think it should be like that. It should be nice and clicky, just like the volume buttons are on the other side. But I do like the inclusion of the metal camera ring. The MagSafe ring is really strong, and it's got that polymer on the inside of the case to help keep your phone safe from drops. If you've made it this far in the video, truly thank you so much for all your support. And if you could, leave me the comment Pro Max, so I know everybody that actually made it to the end. So now I'm going to give you some recommendations for cases that I thought were the absolute best based on a few different categories. And the first category is going to be for the best minimalist aramid fiber case. There were two of these cases that I thought were the best. There's a couple differences between them, but the first case that I would put on my phone would be the one by Thinborn. And the reason for that is because the Thinborn case comes with a tempered glass screen protector, which I would definitely recommend you put on your phone when using these minimalist cases. And the second case I would choose would be the ultra slim case made by Pitaka. This case does not come with the tempered glass screen protector, so you're going to have to purchase one separately, but the cool thing about the Pitaka is it actually comes with a camera button rather than a camera cutout, which is pretty cool, and it seems to work pretty good as well. Both of these cases are super light, they're very thin, they have a very strong MagSafe magnet, and they're also scratch resistant. The next category is going to be the best case for drop protection, and the first case that I would choose myself is the i-Blason Aries Flip. This case covers your phone 360 degrees. It comes with a built-in tempered glass screen protector to cover the whole front of your phone. It's got MagSafe built in, and it also has a metal kickstand built into the camera ring, so it doesn't add any extra bulk to the phone, but adds the functionality of a kickstand. The next case I would choose is the SUPCASE UB Grip case. This case has some really nice drop protection. It is a little bit bulkier than regular cases, but you are getting the reinforced edges. It also does have MagSafe built in. And this one also has a metal kickstand built into the back of the case as well. And the last case I would recommend is the UAG Trooper. This case, again, is a little bit bulkier, I think, than two of the other two cases, but it does have MagSafe built in. It's also been drop tested up to 30 feet, but it doesn't have any built-in kickstands like the other two cases did. The next category is for the best kickstand case, and that goes to the TORRAS Q3 Air. This case has easily become my favorite TORRAS case ever since it came out. It feels great in the hand. It also has some pretty good drop protection due to the airbags that are built into the top and the bottom of the case. It also has a metal kickstand on the back that rotates 360 degrees, giving you a lot of different angles of view if you're going to use your phone in a portrait or landscape mode on your desk. And it's also magnetic, so you can clip it onto things that are metal, such as gym equipment if you need to record a workout hands-free. And I also love the transparent backing that keeps down those fingerprints, but shows off the color of your phone. The next category is going to be for the best everyday carry case, and the first case I would recommend is the Mouse Limitless. This particular case has aramid fiber on the back that feels really nice in the hand, keeps down those fingerprints and scratches. It also has a really prominent raised edge on the front of the case on the top and the bottom to help keep your phone scratch free if you happen to drop it or put it face down on something. It's got MagSafe built in, and it also uses AeroShock gel to help keep it safe in case you happen to drop it. The next case up is going to be the RINGKE Rugged Gear case, and it definitely lives up to its name. It's definitely a lot more rugged than some of the other cases. It gives your phone some pretty good drop protection while keeping your phone fairly slim. It's got MagSafe built in, and it also has a pretty much full coverage camera protector on the back built into the case already. I also absolutely love the oversized texture buttons as well. And the third case is going to be the SPIGEN Nano Pop. This case again has been one of my favorites for quite a few years now because it uses these little micro textures on the side of the case to help give it a much better grip. It just feels really good in the hand. It looks great on the phone. It also does have a pretty much full coverage camera protector built into the case, and it's also got MagSafe built in with a pretty strong hold. The next category is going to be for the best silicone case, and that goes to the ESR Soft Magnetic Case. This case feels great in the hand. It also has a microfiber on the inside to help keep your phone free from scratches. It's got a really strong magnetic hold on the back for the MagSafe. And as a bonus, it's got a metal kickstand built into the camera ring, so it doesn't add extra bulk to the phone, but adds the functionality of a kickstand while protecting your camera lenses as well. The next category is going to be the best leather case, and that goes to the Aspen case made by Andar. This case feels great in the hand and also looks and feels very premium. It's made from all grain leather. It also has aluminum buttons on the side of the case that are very easily pressable. It's got a microfiber on the inside to help keep your phone from getting all scratched up, and it's also got a lifetime guarantee. And the last category is going to be for the best clear case, and that goes to ESR's Hybrid Magnetic Case. This case is not only crystal clear, but it also has 3 times military grade drop protection. It's got a strong magnetic hold, it feels great in the hand, and it also has a metal kickstand on the back that doubles as your camera protector. And instead of a camera cutout, it actually uses a button. So now that you know all the cases that I favorite, I'd really like to know what your favorite case was and why. Let me know in the comments below. Also, if there was a case that you didn't see in this video that you'd like to recommend for future videos, let me know in the comments as well. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know by hitting the like button, and I'd also recommend checking out my best and worst screen protector video, which I will be putting up soon if it's not already out, and you can check that out by clicking on the video you see on your screen right now. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.